Sending that one forward, finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Bodwin! Welcome to the CAA Centre in Brampton as we get ready for today's matchup between the Barrie Colts and the Brampton Steelheads. Yes, we are here. I didn't realize I needed the spotlight. Once they turn on the arena lights, you'll be able to see us.
Make it.
This is like Flint all over
I
again.
didn't realize it was that dark. Like, we got lights behind us, in front of us.
Yeah, but it's the backlight that's making us all look dark.
That's true.
So we do promise you that we are here. We're ready for this one as it's another Central Division matchup. The Barrie Colts wrapping up a 4-game road trip. It started in Brantford with that 7-1 loss. They swept their trip through Flint and Saginaw. Now wanting to end this road trip on a winning note.
Yeah, they've been all around the league here through this little 4-game road trip, and then they get one more home game tomorrow, and then they're right back out on the road to North Bay on Sunday. But yeah, for the Barrie Colts, obviously you want to take advantage of this game tonight, make it a 3-1 road trip, big 6 points here on this trip. It was a really good weekend last weekend against Flint and Saginaw. It didn't look like they were going to come away with any points against Flint, but then a big comeback in the third period there against the Firebirds, and then Saginaw, it felt like a real complete effort. They started out a bit slow, but then after that, the Colts really took control of that game and outplayed the Saginaw Spirit.
So yes, the two silhouettes, we are here at the CAA Centre. And, for this Barrie Colts team, really since that loss against the Brantford Bulldogs, really stepping it up a notch. Obviously, they fell behind in both games against Flint and Saginaw, but they found that next gear. In Flint, it was in the third period. In Saginaw, it was the second. But if you're Dylan Smoskowitz and company, you're going to want to see a more full 60-minute effort as you get ready for a 3-3.
Yeah, it's weird when you think about it, because that game against the Brantford Bulldogs, I mean, the Barrie Colts, I thought they were better in that game for 40 minutes than they were for the first 40 of the game against the Flint Firebirds, and yet they lose that one game 7-1 to Brantford before coming back and winning that game against Flint. I mean, that Bulldogs team in that game, it felt like they wanted to make a statement in that one. I mean, coming off a tough loss to Barrie earlier in the season, maybe wanted to prove to the Barrie Colts, hey, we're better than you. I think there were some hurt feelings over the fact the game even happened because of the weather that day, but yeah, it's been a good effort so far on this road trip. And like you mentioned, Dylan Smoskowitz probably looking for that full 60 effort. That was something that harmed the Barrie Colts earlier in the season. They've been much better at doing it as of late. And I thought they had 2 really good efforts against Brampton in January, and we'll see if that continues over into tonight.
Yeah, and the Barrie Colts, they've had some success already this year against this Brampton Steelheads team. The last time we were here, it was a 1-0 hockey game, and the Barrie Colts won that one in a shootout. Arvin Jaswal got the shutout, had another shutout up in Sudbury. He's played really well against this Brampton team, but the Colts deciding to change it up and going with Ben Hrebic. We were a little surprised by that. We kind of figured maybe Jaswal would get the start here, but Hrebic looking solid in that, on the road last weekend, so why not go with the hot hand?
Yeah, Jaswal's did a really good job against Brampton. He had a 9.85 save percentage over those 3 starts against the Steelheads. So kind of wonder, hey, here's an opportunity. Both goalies are going to have to face North Bay anyway. Maybe you give Jaswal the extra game. Give Hrebic a bit more rest. There's nothing wrong with having a rested goalie heading down the stretch, but they do go with Hrebic, who had a really strong game against the Saginaw Spirit. 21-23 on paper. Doesn't look like anything too special, but there were a couple of huge saves that were save of the night candidates. One of them actually didn't end up winning save of the night, but without those 2 saves, Barrie Colts would have been 4-4 with Saginaw going into overtime.
Yeah, there have also been a few lineup adjustments here tonight for the Barrie Colts. Obviously, Nicholas Desiderio serving his second of a 2-game suspension. I did that video the other day talking about suspensions, and I forgot about the fact that he served the first game against Saginaw on Saturday. So Desiderio back in the lineup tomorrow. So that means that Luke Govero, he's back in the lineup here for the Barrie Colts. He's on the 4th line with Jaden Newton and Eamon Edgar. And Teague Vader, he makes it onto the roster. Justin Hanser out, so getting a chance to let some of the younger defensemen get an opportunity to play.
Yeah, we saw Ethan Armstrong last week due to a numbers game. McCormick and Govero both weren't on the road trip, so now that they're back, Govero comes in, so the Colts can go with the traditional 12 forward, 6 defense. And then Teague Vader, he got into a game a couple of weeks ago against the Oshawa Generals after Justin Hanser returned from the top prospect series, but for Vader in that game, I thought he did a pretty good job. Didn't look like he was rusty at all. He's only played 1 game since January 3rd, and we'll see what he can do tonight. He's getting a chance to play alongside Parker Von Richter tonight. Von Richter and Sebeski in their return game to Brampton are both a part of the starting lineup, so they'll be 2 of the 5 out there for the opening puck drop.
And I got to speak with one of the Brampton fans who came up to the booth, Robert, and he was saying how excited he was seeing Sebeski and Von Richter back. Obviously, this Steelheads team in a bit of a rebuild, but still they're excited here at the CAA Centre to see those 2 players return, and it's a nice touch that they get to be part of the starting lineup.
Yeah, it'll be nice to see them back, obviously, for Steelheads fans. And remember in the offseason, this Steelheads team got decimated by the NCAA. A lot of the guys that were on this Steelheads core over the last couple of years are gone to a whole other league. So the Steelheads fans haven't really got to see many of the old fan favorites return. But here in Sebeski and Von Richter's case, 2 guys that returned to Brampton. And Sebeski's a guy that it's pretty easy to really like him and become one of your favorites. As he's one of those guys, he gets into the corners. He's a very gritty guy. He's not going to light up the score sheet. He even said that to me in our interview today. My main goal isn't goal scoring. It's, those hits, those blocks. And so, like I mentioned, he's going to be a pretty big fan favorite here in Brampton. And for the Steelheads, you mentioned they're in a rebuilding season, but they're not a team you can take lightly. They've got points in their last 3 games, against Guelph and Oshawa, but still, all it takes is one win to maybe get you going. And that was a Brampton Steelheads team that was pretty desperate for a win going into a 2-0-1 week last week.
Yeah, this is a Brampton team right now, 3 points back of the Sudbury Wolves for that final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. And yes, I know we've got the lighting is a little off right now, but we are here. We're going to continue with the broadcast. I should have brought the spotlight. Didn't think I'd need it here this evening, but we will go on, though, to our Coach's Corner, presented by Mariposa School of Skating, where we catch up with Dylan Smoskowitz, who is eager to get back in action here on the road.
Joined by Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz. One more road game, and then it's back home tomorrow for a game at the Sadlin Arena. Is it, excited to get back home after tonight's game, after 4 in a row away?
Definitely. It's always fun to play in front of your hometown fans, and it just your day-to-day routine of being at home is more in your comfort zone. Tonight's not that bad. It's only an hour down the road, but there's nothing quite like a Saturday night at Sadlon. So I think I speak for the whole group when I say we're excited to get back there. 7:30 puck drop tomorrow night.
And obviously, there's been a few days since the last game down in Saginaw on Saturday. You guys had a couple of team bonding days. I understand there was some bowling involved. Who are some of the standouts in that one?
Yeah, I took the boys bowling. It does seem like Carter Lowe bowls quite often in his spare time because he was pretty good. He knew what he was doing. Cole Emerton was pretty good. Our overagers, Cal Crombie, Brad Gardner, these guys were very embarrassing on the bowling alley. So it's maybe the older guys, they kind of missed that bowling trend, but there were some tough rolls from some of our older players.
And I guess when you have those moments, it's good for team bonding. We're now in that final stretch towards the playoffs, so having some later moments as a team that can go a long way.
It really can, and that's the thing with this group, which again it just makes it so much fun to be around. Is at this point in the season, you want to give these guys a little bit of time off. You don't want to be running them that hard during the week. You want to make sure you stay away from injuries and fatigue and stuff like that. But give credit to the group. They came to me and said instead of having a day off and just kind of being on their own at their billet homes, can we do something as a team? Maybe not go on the ice or hit the gym, but can we do something as a team? They just want to be around each other, which again I think that's a great sign for our guys. So for them to come to me and say that, we were more than happy to get them a team outing at the bowling alley and spend a couple hours together after our team picture. So even though they didn't get better on the ice that day, it was a great day to get better in terms of recovery, and it was a great day to get better in terms of team camaraderie.
And now you're getting ready for a 3-3 this weekend, all against Central Division opponents. Do you take a different approach when you know that these are divisional matchups, when you've got 3 games in 3 days?
Usually I'd say yes. At this point in the season, we don't. At this point in the season, you're gearing up for bigger and better things. You're gearing up for playoffs, and if you think you can come in and give it a mediocre effort, and then all of a sudden the playoffs come around and you can just flip a switch and kick it into high gear, it's just not how it works. We are treating this game as a playoff game, and we are treating tomorrow as a playoff game, and we treat Sunday as a playoff game. So this way, when playoffs come around, we hope to be the more comfortable team.
And last time we were here, it was a 1-0 win in a shootout. Are we expecting a little more offense than the last time we were here at the CAA Centre?
The only thing that I was concerned with the last game we were here, the only number I cared about was a 0 on their side. So whether we score a couple more or not, it doesn't really matter to me. If we keep them at 0, I'll be a happy coach.
So that's Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz in the Mariposa School of Skating Coach's Corner. And I had to ask him there at the end about the last time we were here. Do you want to see more offense? Because obviously it was a 1-0 score, and I like that line saying he was mostly happy that there was a 0 on the board. And of course, Arvin Jaswal was fantastic in that game. That was when the top players were off at the World Juniors, so scoring was going to be a question mark at that point. But outside of that game, the Colts really build up on that, and now we're seeing the benefits of that with the depth contributing with the offense, and for the Colts looking to have that pick up here in this stretch towards the playoffs.
Yeah, the stretches kind of felt similar to those games, except the Barrie Colts, they have all their talent back and they're able to actually score now. In that game, it kind of there was some entertaining pieces, but for the most part, it dragged on at 0-0. It didn't really feel like we were going to ever get a goal, and then we didn't really end up getting one. The only one we got was Brad Gardner in the shootout there. It was a 1-0 win for the Colts, 1-0 in the shootout as well. Arvin Jaswal stopped all 3 shots he faced in that shootout. And yeah, but since then for the Barrie Colts, they've been scoring a lot more, but they've been able to keep up that defensive game, that goaltending game as well. Arvin Jaswal was one of the best goalies in the OHL in the month of January. Ben Horebek's stats got a bit ruined by that game against the Brampton Bulldogs. 7.83 save percentage in that game kind of ruined his month of January, but Jaswal was absolutely fantastic throughout the month. And the Barrie Colts, so they didn't need that perfect goaltending. They had the most goals among all teams in the OHL in the month of January, and that led them to a lot of success.
And right now, the Barrie Colts keeping pace with Brantford and Ottawa at the top of the Eastern Conference standings. Those two teams actually going head-to-head tomorrow afternoon, Brantford and Ottawa. So they have the night off, so a chance here for the Barrie Colts. If you can get the win here tonight in Brampton, you get within 2 points closer of those top teams, and they face off tomorrow. The standings could look very different come Sunday afternoon once we're done in North Bay.
Yeah, it could be a really big week for the Barrie Colts. Brantford Bulldogs, they lost in overtime the other night, or well, a shootout, sorry, to the Kingston Frontenacs. That's a team you expected Brantford to win. That's probably one that if you're looking at it realistically for the Barrie Colts, you expected 2 points there for Brantford, but they only get 1. So you gain a point there. Then maybe tonight the other teams aren't in action. You're able to gain 2 points here. And then you're probably, if you can beat North Bay tomorrow night, you're going to gain either 2 points or 1 point on either Brantford or Ottawa again tomorrow night. So it could be a very big week here for the Barrie Colts.
And obviously for the coaching staff, want to make sure this isn't a trap game. As you look at the standings, Brampton at the bottom of the East and Barrie at the top. It's very easy to, look ahead onto the schedule, be like, okay, North Bay is a team that's middle of the pack, so you're kind of overlooking Brampton. But that could be a problem, especially with the way these Steelheads have been playing of late, and you expect that they're going to be playing some desperate hockey trying to catch Sudbury.
Yeah, they've made it really close with the Sudbury Wolves. So these games are getting more and more important. And as well, for the Barrie Colts, you look at those last 2 games against Brampton. I mean, they kind of dominated them in that first one, winning it 4-1. It kind of felt like they let off the gas pedal in the second period. And then they come out and they outshoot Brampton 20-3 in the first period. And the next game, they go up 2-0 right away. So this Steelheads team, they're going to be looking for a better effort against their division rivals tonight. And remember back to October, they did beat the Barrie Colts 4-1 at the Sadlin Arena. So they are capable of pulling out a victory against Barrie.
So the 2 teams are on the ice getting ready for the national anthems. And Tammy, remembering your promise that if we made $100 in the broadcast, you'd sing "Oh Canada," but apparently she's letting you off the hook.
She's letting me off the hook. No one's donated, so I'm going to stay silent through the national anthem.
So the 2 teams are getting ready for the national anthems, but when we return, we will have the start of the first period between the Barrie Colts and the Brampton Steelheads.
Yeah, I can see you.
So we're just about ready to go for the first period of play between the Barrie Colts and the Brampton Steelheads. And while we have a moment, let's take a look at our starting goaltenders. Presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities. New homes minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm.
Well, first for the Barrie Colts, it's Ben Horebic, only getting his second start of the season against the Brampton Steelheads. Horebic, 28-2-3 on the year with a .924 save percentage and 273 goals against average. His second straight start after stopping 21 of 23 in the win on Sunday against Saginaw. For the Brampton Steelheads, Zach Bowen making his seventh start in the Steelheads' last 8 games. Bowen's 37th appearance of the year, 14-19-2-1 with an .891 save percentage and a .335 goals against average. Bowen stopped 33 of 37 in an overtime loss Sunday versus the Generals.
Our referees tonight, Hillary Brennan and Sean Kimmerly, and on the lines, Will Dykman and David Milne. So it's a nice touch here from Dylan Smoskowitz to have the former Brampton Steelheads get the start in their first return back to the CAA Centre. Zabeski out on the line with Cole Bodwin and Emil Hemming, and on the blue line, Parker Von Richter and Teague Vader. And we are underway. Face-off won by the Steelheads. They have it in their own zone. G's going to send this one back. Peter Green sends this one forward. Amidovsky can't get a stick on it, so that's an early icing call here against Brampton.
Well, Von Richter and Zabeski spent the entirety of their OHL career up until now with the Brampton Steelheads. And be interesting to see whether they get just a quick thank you or if there's a video tribute in store for the pair.
Well, like we were saying in the pregame, we had a few fans excited to see them make their return. As I'm sure the Steelheads will put something on for their former players as the Colts win the faceoff, trying to keep it in the zone. Vader, though, he's tripped up. Puck goes down the ice. Here's Peter Green. Green on the wing, passes it across into the skates, and that's knocked away by Von Richter. Trying to get a stick on it there was Arda. Colts with it. Here's Emil Hemming. He's going to skate this one forward, reaches center ice. Hemming enters the zone. Puck looked like it got stuck on the ice there for a second. Steelheads can't get it out. Zabeski fires this towards the net. Steelheads get it out. Here's Amidovsky, the former Ottawa 67. He's going to flip this one deep. H is in there to play it. Leaves it in the corner for Zabeski. Mason Zabeski hits the brakes. Sends this one across to an open wing. No one's there. Picked up here by the Steelheads. Carter Hicks sends this one deep. Horebic's going to come out of his net to play it. Gives it to Aitchison. Aitchison going around the net. Jackson Williams runs over Passmore. Play continues. Aitchison ahead. Wilmot gets it up to Gardner. That got by him. Goyette's there to collect it for Brampton. That's sent to the blue line. Kept in by Salandra. Here's Ben Wilmot out of the corner to the net. Takes the shot. Stopped by Bowen. Wilmot, he's had the hot hand of late here for the Barrie Colts. He gets it again in the corner for the Barrie. He's going to go behind the net. That one's sent around. Jackson Williams puts that one off the glass and down the ice and ends up going onto the Brampton bench. So we'll bring this face-off back.
Well, last time we were here was before the trade deadline. Since then, the Steelheads have added a couple of former Ottawa 67s players. Of course, Nathan Amidovsky in that big trade as Brampton adding a nice piece for the future, but then also grabbing Jackson Williams, a guy that wasn't going to get any playing time down the stretch with a more loaded Ottawa 67s team. And so they do right by him and find him a place to play. And he's playing on the top line tonight for the Steelheads.
And of course, there's also Sam Black, the former Barrie Colt. He's been getting more ice time with the Steelheads team since the trade. He's playing on the fourth line tonight for Brampton as the puck goes deep into the Barrie zone. Cole Emerton's there, sends it ahead to Lowe. It goes over a stick. Kwiatkowski sends it up to Patton. Patton drops it back to Guy. Guy, he'll send this one around the board. Sends it behind the net. Kwiatkowski sends it back to the blue line. Steelheads with it. There's the shot blocked in front. Emerton has it in his skates. He'll play it around the net. Kwiatkowski putting on pressure here. Colts get it to the line and out. Cole Emerton through the neutral zone ahead for Carter Lowe. That goes off his stick. Peter Green sends this one around to G. G will send this one up. There's Sam Black. Got a stick on it. Puck rolls into the Barrie zone. Von Richter knocks this one out to the neutral zone. Mason Roy, the former Owen Sound attack. He'll dump that one in. Vader behind his own net. Plays this one off the end boards. Here's Govro. He's in the lineup here. Filling in for Nicholas Desiderio, serving his second game of a 2-game suspension. Eamon Edgar on the wing, gets by Roy, ends up in the corner. Edgar fans on that pass attempt, ends up behind the net. Colts with it, and that's poked away. As nearly setting up there was Edgar. And now we got Govro behind the play, and he's going to drop the gloves. Amato and Govro going toe-to-toe. Uppercut from Govro as he's got that right free. His helmet's coming off. Amato's still holding on. Govro trying to get the takedown. Amato with that right free. He's trying to go over top. They're along the boards now. Amato with the uppercut. He loses an edge, but gets right back up. What a spirited tilt between these two. Govro and Amato still going at it. They look exhausted. And the linesman will now separate these two. Govro, though, still doing some body shots. But my, oh my, that's exactly what Luke Govro brings to the lineup. It's that physicality.
Well, the Barrie Colts like to have one of him and Jonah McCormick on that bottom line to bring that physical presence and drop the gloves every once in a while. That one with Manuel Amato, and what an uppercut attempt there by Amato. He knocked himself down with the amount of force he put into that one. I don't think he got all of Govro on it, but if he did, that one would have hurt.
Well, good for him to get right back up. So I thought he wasn't going to, get back to his skates there. But
he went down for a sec, got right back up. But
didn't give time for the linesman to get between those two. So this should be 5 each. So no instigator penalty to either side. But we'll see what kind of spark that brings for these two teams. Face-off coming outside the Barrie blue line, won by the Colts. Evan Passmore sends it over to Kayshawn Aitchison. Long pass. Hemming tried to get a stick on it. Icing waved off. Bowen behind his own net. He'll send this one around. Loose puck picked up by Zabitsky. His shot stopped in front. Looked like it may have gone off Nyman, and now the Steelheads move it up. Here's Demiglio. He takes a hard hit from Aitchison, but stays on his skates. Demiglio trying to send it back to Arda. That pass is deflected. Another chance, and that goes over the net. Near side Demiglio. He'll send this one behind the Barrie net. After it is Arda. He's going to come out of the corner. Passes it in front. Banning on that one time was Demiglio. There's another shot. That's deflected wide of the net. Gee, at the point. Keeps this one down low. Colts with possession. That's Evan Passmore. Up to Hemming. Backhand pass. That's picked off by Williams. He read that play well. Ends up back behind the Barrie net. Harevic's going to leave it for Kayshawn Aitchison. He's facing pressure. Some good forechecking here early on from the Steelheads. Puck ends up in the neutral zone. Botno sends this one ahead. Stankoven gives chase. Stankoven in the corner. Drops it back. Not able to get a stick on it there was Williams. Colts with possession. Gardner up ahead. Here's Ben Wilmot. Wilmot enters the zone, backhand pass, Landry up to Gardner to the net, trying to go around, and that stays out, puts it in front, puck sitting there, and the Steelheads get this one down the ice, but what a chance for Brad Gardner, as that's going to be an icing call, and a beautiful setup there from Joe Salandra.
Yeah, Wilmot playing that one ahead to Salandra there, and then Gardner driving the net. No one picked him up. He was able to get there, and Zach Bowen was just able to get enough of that one. Gardner wasn't able to slide it past him there on the glove side.
Brad Gardner right now sitting on 23 goals on the season. 23 goals, 23 assists. He wins the faceoff activator. Von Richter rifles that one over the net. Von Richter gets again at the point. Ends up in the corner. Steelheads just want to get it out. That's going to go back to the Barrie blue line, picked up by Teague Vader. Vader skating back into his own zone, goes to Von Richter. Cross ice feed over to Gardner. Brad Gardner in the neutral zone, flips us into the Brampton zone. Steelheads get it out. Going after here is Witkowski. He takes a hard hit from Von Richter. He's dialed in here tonight. Wilmot sends it towards the nets, and Bowen will cover it up. And, of course, Salandra mixing it up with a pair of Steelheads there, but nothing more will come of that.
That's the presence Joe Salandra brings to this team. And the Barrie Colts, they kind of have one of those guys on all four lines, Mason Zabeski, then Joe Salandra on the second line, Calvin Crombie coming out here with the third line, and then, of course, we just saw Luke Govro with that big fight against Amato.
Well, that's the Barrie Colts style we keep hearing about from Dylan Smoskowitz. They want to play that rough and tough hockey, and it's been on display here so far in this first period as the Steelheads get it out to the neutral zone, knocked down by Eliasson. Eliasson in a battle there with Richmond. It goes to the Brampton blue line. Steelheads move it up. Eliasson knocks it forward. Picked up here by Lowe. He's going to drop it back to his defense as we're past the 5-minute mark of the first period. Still no score. Schneid sends it into the Brampton zone. Mason Roy behind his own net. He'll bounce it off the end boards for Zach Nyman. Nyman passes it up to Witkowski on the wing. Here's Kieran Witkowski trying to get around Emerson in front. No one there for the Steelheads. Carter Lowe skates this one out for Barrie. Reaches center. That's deflected, so no icing. Bowen will play it behind his own net. Goes to Nyman. Nyman can't hold on to that. Schneid in the corner trying to go to Crombie. That gets by him. Goyette up to Stankoven. Eggleton skates to the neutral zone. He's stopped there by Aitchison. Puck goes to the far corner. Passmore trying to get a stick on it. Picked up instead by Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison, one hand on his stick, trying to go up to Hemming. That's taken away by Brampton, and that's going to escape the zone. Steelheads forced to regroup. Sam Black gets it at the line, but that's going to be offside with 14:10 remaining here in the first.
Well, a good start here for the Brampton Steelheads is going to be key. In those last two games between the Colts and Brampton, the Barrie went up 2-0 in the last one, outshot them 20-3 in the first, and then the time before that on January 10th, Barrie went up 2-1 after the first period. Cole Baudouin had a goal 13 seconds into the game, and then the Colts made it 3-1 a minute into the second, and it kind of felt like after those moments, Brampton was pretty lifeless and pretty much out of the game right away.
Colts get this one out to center. That's going to be dumped back on net. Hrebeck decides to play it. Goes to Aitchison in the corner. Up ahead to Zabeski. He'll send it across to Passmore. Here's Hemming in the neutral zone. He stood up there by Gene. There's a hard hit. That's Peter Green on Baudouin. Baudouin, though, stays on his skates. Puck sent to the far side. Aitchison off the point to play it. Zabeski down low. He's stopped there by Demiglio, and the Steelheads will get it out. Through center, that's Peter Green. Drops that one back. There's a big hit. Kayshawn Aitchison lays out Keaton Arda. It's a clean hit. Play continues. 2-on-1 here for the Colts. Here's Cole Baudouin to the net. Takes the shot. Stop by Barnes. Rebound. And there's the save. But we got a fight now behind the play. Kayshawn Aitchison dropping the mitts with Troy Patton. Patton standing up for his teammate Arda. As the pair of 77s tangled in front of Ben Hrebeck. Aitchison has that right free. Patton trying to reach. These two still tussling. Now Aitchison trying to go over top. Not many fists being thrown here as there's just holding on to one another. Aitchison trying to get that right free. A couple of jabs. Patton just holding on to that jersey. As there's a jab from Patton, and now Aitchison gets that right free. A couple of uppercuts, and then the takedown. Took a little bit for that scrap to get going, but good for Troy Patton to stand up for his teammate as Kayshawn Aitchison riling up the crowd.
Well, I didn't see how that started, so not sure if Patton's going to end up with an instigator. Obviously, we saw that huge hit from Kayshawn Aitchison, but then the Colts went back the other way. Kind of looked like Aitchison waited a minute, though, to let the Barrie Colts get the chance before dropping the gloves there with Patton, and then we went for a little bit without either of them really throwing a punch, but then it looked like the game changer in that fight. Aitchison took a shot to the midsection there of Patton, and that kind of knocked him off, and then Aitchison was able to get a couple shots on him from there, and then as he took him to the ground, gives him a little pat.
Well, they're now putting up a penalty on the board, so Troy Patton will get called for the instigators, the Barrie Colts. Looks like they're going to be going on the power play here.
The 77 confused me.
Well, when you've got two 77s dropping the gloves.
I was like, wait a minute,
how's this happening?
Why did Aitchison get an instigator? I'm confused.
He threw the hit.
What did he do?
So it will be a Barrie Colts power play presented by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. And Barrie Colts power play, third best in the OHL, operating at 25.6%. Well, the penalty kill for Brampton right now 15th in the league at 76.1%. So we're just waiting for the faceoff to come to the right of Bowen. I think they're actually going to take the TV timeout while they have the chance. But what a start to this game. Two fights. You got Govro dropping the gloves of the Matto, and then Aitchison with that big hit on Arda, and then Patton stepping in.
Yes, been quite a start to this game. Not a lot of goal scoring, though. Shots are 3-0 for the Barrie Colts right now, but the penalty box has gotten full pretty quickly. 2 for the Colts, and then 3 for Brampton with William Eggleton in there serving the instigator penalty for Troy Patton.
Well, right now they are doing a video tribute for the two former Steelheads, Mason Zabeski and Parker Von Richter. So a nice tribute there for the two former Steelheads. And, of course, Josh, you had a chance to catch up with Mason Zabeski pregame, so we'll have that interview coming up in the first intermission. But it's got to be hard when you do come back to where you've spent so much time in your junior hockey career, coming back here, getting a chance to play in front of this crowd once again.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, 3 seasons here for Mason Zabeski and Parker Von Richter. And the last couple of years have been pretty decent years for the Steelheads. They've been around the top of the league, contending. And They haven't really had too much playoff success, so Von Richter and Zabeski probably looking to get some here this season with the Barrie Colts, but definitely some good years here for Brampton in the Von Richter-Zabeski era.
So the power play underway. Steelheads get this one out. Von Richter back to collect it at his own blue line, being chased there by Botno. Botno kind of caught an edge. Colts get it out. Wilmot can't hold it. Took a hit there from G. Puck's going to go back into the Barrie zone. 140 still to work with on the man advantage. Emil Hemming dropping it back. Gave it to Witkowski. Witkowski shorthanded, drops it back. Shot stopped by Horebic. What a chance there for the Steelheads as Emil Hemming gave a gift there to Kieran Witkowski. Puck's behind the Barrie net. Cole Beaudoin will dig this one free. He's going to go for a skate. Beaudoin reaching center, goes to Hemming, drops it to Wilmot. Wilmot across to Carter Lowe up the middle, takes the shot. That's blocked by Green. Wilmot trying to get a handle of it. Richmond, though, gets to it and sends it out to center. Knocked down by Von Richter. 107 still to work with on the power play here for the Barrie Colts as Cole Beaudoin receives the pass at the blue line. Back to Hemming. Emil Hemming, he'll skate this one through center, enters the zone. Hemming trying to go around Roy. Sends it behind the Brampton net, and then the Colts skates into the referee. Zabeski's upset as that gives the Steelheads a chance to clear it once again. 45 seconds left in the penalty to Patton. Picked up here by Salandra. Ahead for Zabeski. He's going to dump it in. Bowen tried to slow it down. Gardner gets that one off his skate. Ends up in the far corner in the Brampton zone. That's going to be flipped down the ice as the Barrie Colts struggling to get things going on this man advantage. 25 seconds left. Cole Emerton reaches center, picks up momentum. Emerton over to Gardner. Gardner back to Emerton along the half boards across to Salandra. Salandra across off a leg. Shot stopped by Bowen. What a chance for Crombie as that puck went off a skate and right to the tape of Calvin Crombie, but a good save there by Bowen.
Well, it can get a bit dangerous when you're sending those passes way across, and they tried to go across there to Gardner, I believe it was, for that one-timer to flex right to the middle, and Crombie was left open, but Bowen does a nice job making a save. Zach Bowen, one of the busier goaltenders in the OHL, 5th in the league in minutes, and he probably knew coming into the season he was going to have to be a workhorse for the Steelheads team that kind of knew they were rebuilding. So I think for Zach Bowen, he probably figured he was going to have to face a lot of shots, and it's no stranger to that after last year at Peterborough.
Some quick passing in front. Crombie couldn't get a stick on it. Steelheads will get it out as the power play about to expire here. So Barrie 0 for 1 on the man advantage as that puck's going to go out of play. 11:16 left to go in this first period. Not a lot of shots in this one so far. Just 4-2 right now in favor of Barrie.
Oh, the interesting note there is it was 3-0 going into the power play. So Brampton shot Barrie on the Colts power play. Not the start Barrie was looking for. Obviously, no Kayshawn Aitchison on that top unit there, and kind of saw the effects.
And Aitchison still serving that 5-minute fighting major as the Steelheads get this one up the ice. Eliasson's there to pick it up for Barrie. Gabriel Eliasson in front of his own net, facing pressure there from Eggleton. He'll pass this one up, nearly picked off by Amato. That's going to send all the way back into the Brampton zone. There's Nyman to collect it. Eamon Edgar there on the forecheck. Schneid after it. Eggleton. He'll pass this one forward. Amato reaches center, flips this one across. That's going to be offside as Amadovsky touches it, and then Passmore with a hit after the whistle. As that was a bit of a follow-through, but nothing more will come of that.
Well, Nathan Amadovsky and then Troy Patton, who we just saw in that fight, some connections to Barrie. They played on that U16 AAA team a couple of years ago that was pretty talented. A lot of players on that squad currently now on OHL rosters. Talking to Amadovsky a couple of weeks ago when the Colts were in town and said that made the transition a bit easier, but he added on that it'd been a bit tough since coming over from Ottawa, and said, well, you know what, maybe a win would make it feel better, and he's got a couple of those under his belt now, and hopefully feeling better. He's got goals as well last week.
Yeah, this Brampton team trying to stay in that race for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference standings. As the Colts send it towards the net, that goes wide. That was Von Richter just throwing it towards the net. Eliasson keeps it down low. Zabeski has that get by him. Amato sends this one around, hits the official. Steelheads after it. Witkowski trying to get it around Parker Von Richter. He'll knock it to the corner. Beaudoin with it, passes it back. Zabeski loses it. Steelheads will get it out. Von Richter trying to knock that one ahead. Witkowski sends us into the Barrie zone. Amato gives chase, but is picked up there by Gabriel Eliasson. Cole Broadway up to Hemming. Got a stick on it, so no icing. It rolls on net. Bowen's just going to give it to Roy. Roy, facing pressure, turns it over. Gave it to Zabeski, but couldn't find Bodwin in front. Jackson Williams picked it off. Bodwin gets it behind the net. He's going to skate this one out for the Colts into the slot. Takes their shot. That goes wide of the net. Puck goes to the corner, picked up by Williams. Blocking it there was Bodwin. Ends up behind the Brampton net. Zabeski in front. Hemming puts that one wide. A no-look pass there from Mason Zabeski, but Hemming puts it wide of the net. Stankoven ahead to Black. Sam Black trying to go back to Stankoven, but that was batted away by Passmore. Vader up to Gardner. Colts trying to move this one up quickly. Evan Passmore loses the handle of it. Stankoven skates this one in for Brampton to the net. Takes the shot. Stopped by Horevic. Teague Vader comes up with it for Barrie. Across, here's Joe Salandra at the blue line. Sends this one up. Gardner trying to settle it down. Flips that one to the far corner. Back after it is Nyman. Sends this one up to Williams. Williams to the line and out. Colts, they'll pick it up. Wilmot sends it back. Vader, cross ice for Brad Gardner. Drops it back to Wilmot. Nice little pass there to Gardner. Back to the line, Emerton. Tries to go back to Gardner. Ends up in the near corner. Ben Wilmot passes this one back, but that pass is picked off by Green. And the Steelheads will get it out. D'Amiglio beats out the icing call, trying to go around Emerton, ends up behind the Barrie net. Botno reaching for it, picked off there by Von Richter. Colts get this one to the line and out. Here's Joe Salandra at center, ahead for Schneid. Schneid on the wing. Forced around by G, trying to put it in front. He's tied up, takes the hit. Schneid, though, stays on it. William Schneid along the boards. Still battling there with G. Schneid sends this one back. That pass is deflected. Colts keep this one in. Now it's Crombie with possession. Calvin Crombie's got a stick on him. Takes the shot to the net. Deflected. And Bowen kicks that one away. I don't know if he saw that one in time. Puck ends up in the neutral zone. Calvin Crombie skates this one in for the Colts. Guyette trying to slow him down. Crombie stays with it. Backhand pass. Eliasson fires. That one goes off a leg into the corner. Crombie tied up there by Guyette. Lowe trying to help out there. Crombie, though, sends it around. D'Amiglio picks up the loose puck. Under 8 minutes left to go in this first period. Still looking for our first goal of the game, as that's going to be an icing call now against the Brampton Steelheads.
Over 12 minutes gone, only 5 shots for the Colts. The Steelheads have done a good job on the back end, and this is a pretty young Steelheads defensive core. Reed Gee is in the lineup as a 06 defender, but outside of that, it's all 2008, 2009 born guys, including Zach Nyman, a guy with a lot of potential. It's all going to come down to for him. Will he stay next year? Will he head off to NCAA? And then Carter Hicks, the headliner in the Jakob Fibiger deal. And that's a guy that they're hoping has quite the future here in Brampton.
Well, pregame, I was able to catch up with Mikey Kay. He does the broadcast for the Brampton Steelheads. We'll have that interview in the second intermission, just talking about the foundations that are being put in place of this Brampton team. And if they can get everyone to come back next season, expect Brampton to be a team that'll be challenging for home ice in the first round of the playoffs next year.
For the record, Mikey Kay is quite the character.
He is quite the character. He was excited to do the interview, too.
I've never seen so. Oh, yeah, Mikey. Anytime. Now?
You want to do it now?
Now. Let's do it now.
Yep. So that's coming up in the second intermission. Puck's deep in the Barrie zone. Kayshawn Aitchison's going to move this one up to Passmore. Passmore reaches center, dumps this one in. Bowen stops it behind the net. He's going to send this one around. Witkowski's there, takes a hit from Passmore, but the puck's going to go down the ice. Aitchison back to play it, being pursued here by Amato. Aitchison sends it forward. Edgar gets a stick on it, so no icing. He's going to go off for a change. Under 7 minutes left now in this first period. Shots 5-3 in favor of Barrie. Mason Roy up the wing. Witkowski tips this in the zone, no icing. Eliasson back to play it behind his own net. Ahead for Zabeski. Mason Zabeski's pass goes off a leg. Following it up is Eliasson. Here's Hemming. Hemming to the net. And Bowen casually gets the glove under that one. And he'll hold on for the faceoff.
Well, a quick shout out to Liam for sending $13.99, wanting to know what the French fries are like. So we went from a coffee fund to a French fry fund.
You know, since Liam is doing the French fry fun, maybe you need to go downstairs and figure out what the fries are like here.
I'll have to figure that out. I'm on a budget, though, so.
Well, Liam's contributing, so we're going
Okay.
to have to do it. So we appreciate your support there, Liam.
Well, I'll go down and while we're playing the interview, and then we'll figure it out.
Figure out what the fries are like here at the CAA Centre. Here's Eliason. He's going to skate this one forward for the Colts, reaches center, dumps this one in, around the boards it goes. Sebeski gives chase, sends this one back. Stankoven comes up with it for Brampton. He's going to dump this one down the ice. Gabriel Eliason there to collect it for Barrie, being pursued there by Williams. Here's Hemming, sends it up. Sebeski can't get a stick on it, so that's going to be icing against the Barrie Colts with 6:03 remaining.
Can't comment on the Brampton fries yet, but I can't comment on the Taco Bell French fries, the loaded fries. I had them last night and this afternoon as well, and they were pretty good.
You and your fries. Well, because of Liam, we're going to figure out, okay, what are the fries like here at the CAA Centre?
That's the new thing. If you want us to try fries, you send us money.
Well, there we go. Well, people want to know, like, if you're going to travel around the OHL, you want to know what's the best thing to get at every arena.
Yeah.
Because clearly Owen Sound, it was the French fries.
Yeah. Maybe we should go around, do French fries this year, and then maybe next year we hit the popcorn or the pizza, or we'll see.
We'll change it up. Well, as long as people want it, if that's what they want. That's what the people want.
We don't care about the hockey coverage. We want to see the French fries.
That's the kind of broadcast you get here on From the Boot.
We're professionals.
Here's Hemming to the net, takes the shots, and that one goes off the shoulder of Bowen and out of play. As the Barrie Colts, just 6 shots on goal. A lot fewer than what we're used to seeing over these last few games, especially in the first period.
Yeah, the Barrie Colts, they usually come out flying, but not here tonight. Not really for the last 3 games now. They've kind of struggled off the get-go, but to their credit, they have over double the shots of Brampton. Brampton at 3, and we undersold them because now they've just given them credit for another shot.
No, it's now 7-3. Just a bit of a delay.
I looked over, it was 6-3. Looked back, it was 7-3.
But for this Barrie Colts team, though, it's their attacks have been in waves. And if we look back to what we saw last weekend in Flint and Saginaw, it's just a flip of the switch. And it was at the start of the periods, third in Flint and then the second in Saginaw. And it's just, maybe it's just the motivation that they pick up. And we'll see what's in store here this evening, as it's been, I don't want to say a casual pace, but certainly not like we've seen in recent games.
We mentioned them just taking a period and going, and you can kind of go back to the 2 wins before that. Brantford, they never really controlled a period, but the night before that against the Steelheads team, the first period, they took that one over and dominated. The game before that against Niagara, they're okay. They're pretty good in the first. They were okay in the second, but then it was the third period that they really took over. They were trailing 3-2 going into the third there, but then it was all Barrie, and they win that game 5-3.
Colts win the faceoff, ends up in the neutral zone, delayed offside. So this will give Brampton a chance to regroup behind their own net. Carter Hicks sends this one forward. Witkowski got a stick on it. Richmond follows it up. Vader gets the loose puck in the corner. Ben Wilmot comes up with it here for the Colts. Ahead to Gardner, across to Salandra. He'll skate this one out. Salandra, he'll go for a skate, trying to go to the net. Takes the shot. Bowen, poke check. Puck's loose in front of the net, and they'll get the whistle. I think we might actually be getting a penalty out of this.
I think it might be for a hook or a slash on a Steelheads player.
Yeah, that's what the indication is. So it's going to be a hook. And trying to see who's heading over to the penalty box. Brad Gardner's there, but I guess it is a Steelhead. It took us a little bit, but we figured it out.
Well, Gardner was coming over, but if I'm remembering correctly, the Colts had the puck when the ham went up and nothing came, but now it's Sean Matthew Goyette going to the box.
So this Barrie Colts Power Play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. And we want to say thank you to Richard for your $10 gift. And I guess that's going to help with the French fry fund.
The North Bay French fries are now covered.
Yeah, because that's on Sunday. I guess that's our thing, trying the French fries. Face-off won by the Steelheads. They're able to get this one out to center. The Colts right now 0 for 1 on the man advantage. Took them a while to get things set up the first time around as Zabeski puts it across to Gardner. Gardner to Crombie. Crombie to Zabeski. Takes the shot. Stopped by Bowen. Puck goes up the middle. Emerton doesn't take the shot. Over to Gardner. Back to Salandra. Salandra waits. Fires. That goes off the stick of Demiglio. And that's going to end up in the neutral zone. Picked up by Emerton from his own blue line. Still a minute 25 left in the power play as Crombie skates it in. Calvin Crombie drops it back to Salandra. Salandra back to Emerton. Emerton, Salandra in the corner, passes it across. Gardner waits, fires, stopped by Bowen. Puck goes to the corner, picked up by Crombie. Crombie's taken into the board, sends this one around, and that's going to end up back at the Barrie blue line. 1:05 left to go in this power play for the Colts. Cole Emerton goes back behind the net. Colts are making a line change here, so they'll get the top power play unit out there with 55 seconds still to work with. Emerton drops it back to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin, he's going to go for a skate through the neutral zone. Beaudoin gets it around Hicks, still with it, around the Brampton net. Beaudoin back to Von Richter at the point. Von Richter over to Hemming. Hemming back to Von Richter. Waits. Hemming, one-timer, stopped by Bowen. Wilmot gets it over to Hemming. Hemming back to the blue line. It's Von Richter. Near side, Aitchison, stopped by Bowen. Steelheads get it to the line and out. Now it's a 2-on-1 shorthanded. Amato, he's got it. Takes the shot, blocked by Von Richter. A sliding block there. Now the Colts come the other way. Here's Beaudoin, comes up the middle, try to go around the defense, poke check. What a move, but he misses that far post. That would have been the highlight of the Knights if that went in. What a move by Cole Beaudoin. Puck's going to go down the ice. Horebic there to play it. Up to Von Richter. It's Von Richter through the neutral zone as the power play has expired, so Barrie now 0 for 2 on the man advantage. Colts put it to the net, but that just misses. Puck goes to the near corner, picked up by G. G's going to send this one down the ice. Eliasson in a foot race with Eggleton. Eliasson gets to it first. Goes behind his own net. Facing pressure now from Amidovsky. He'll try the other way. Eliasson trying to set things up here for the Barrie Colts as William Eggleton there on the forecheck. Barrie right now completing a line change. 2:40 left here in the first period. Eliasson being chased there by Eggleton and passes it up to Newton. Jaden Newton skates this one in. He's going to send it around. Edgar back behind the Brampton net. Continues it to Govro. Luke Govro from the corner takes the shots, and Bowen with the save. 2:26 to go, but what a move by Cole Beaudoin. If that would have connected, that would have been something else.
Oh, he came in, looked like he was going to his backhand. Then he tried to, in the crease, tried to slide it back on his forehand. I mean, what a play attempted there by Beaudoin. Barrie Colts power play, though, 0 for 2 now, but ramped up the pace a bit. Now up to 13 shots, just like that.
13-3 are now the shots in favor of Barrie, and that was a much better power play than we saw the first time around. Steelheads are going to get this one out, though. Richmond sends us into the Barrie zone. Passmore sends it over to Govro. Govro drops it back. Witkowski takes it away. McGregor, Richmond, he's knocked down. Newton with a check there on Demiglio. Colts get it again behind the net. Eliasson trying to play it. Puck comes back to the point. Nyman fans on it. Loose puck. Edgar overskates it. Colts recover. Gabriel Eliasson sends it up to Edgar. That goes in the air. He's trying to bat it forward. Nyman gets a stick on it and out. Govro at center. He's going to dump it in. That ends up deep in the Brampton zone. Goyette will come up with it. Stops behind his own net. Approaching the final minute of this first period. Steelheads get it down the ice. Black, he got a stick on it, so no icing. Puck goes to the corner. Carter Lowe puts it back behind his own net. Emerton to Crombie. Calvin Crombie flips this one across. Lowe has that one go behind him. He'll send it around. Bowen behind his own net. He'll send this one along the boards. Knocked down by Crombie. He takes a hard hit. And we're going to get a whistle here for a glove-to-head pass as we're now down to 1:15 remaining in the first.
Only 3 shots still for the Steelheads. And it's kind of been the theme of the games post-deadline that we've seen Brampton play, and it just doesn't feel like they have a guy that could take over a shift for them. Obviously, for the Colts, when you get Beaudoin or Hemming out there on the ice, they can sometimes take over the game for you. But Brampton, as of right now, it just doesn't feel like they have that guy yet.
Well, they've got a lot of pieces for their future. But, yeah, as you mentioned, it's going to take some time for the team to get there. It's going to be an offside call now against Brampton. Looks like there may have been a high stick on William Schneid. Schneid right now checking the chiclets. He seems to be okay. I don't think we're getting a penalty out of this, but Schneid's going to be looked at the bench.
Gardner will come out. He's got to go off.
Yeah, he's got the towel up to his mouth here. But there was no whistle. Sometimes you see a review done when there's been a high stick.
Well, there is a discussion going on right now.
Yeah, the linesman was having a word with the referee, Hillary Brennan. But I don't think we're going to get a review out of this. So play will continue as Schneid goes off. He's going to go down the tunnel. So face-off outside the Barrie blue line. Stankoven will take the draw against Brad Gardner. Face-off won by Brampton. Gene will send that one in. Here's Emerton. Up the wing. Crombie. Can't get a stick on it there. He'll take down G. We're now in the final minute of the first period. Kayshawn Aitchison back to Emerton. Emerton will send this one up. Crombie sends this one into the Brampton zone. Crombie's now mixing it up with Reed G. Looks like Crombie is willing to drop the gloves, but the defenseman didn't want to oblige. 40 seconds left in the period. Puck in the Brampton zone. They're going to flip it up the ice. Aitchison has it go off his shoulder, so no icing. Emerton puts it behind the net. Kayshawn Aitchison. He's got some space. Sends it up the wing. Wilmot leaves it there for Crombie. Crombie enters the zone, but Brad Gardner just ahead of the play, and that's going to be offside.
Well, you saw Crombie there getting into it with Reed G. G's got 71 penalty minutes on the season. I assume a few of those come from fighting majors. I know one of them does back in Barrie, Carter Lowe's 200th game. G and him went at it. Lowe tried to fight Carter Hicks earlier in the game, and the officials got in between them, but Lowe came out of the box and went after G, and two of them went at it there.
That was the best way, I think, to celebrate your 200th game, getting your first OHL fight.
His quote to me in Owen Sound a couple weeks ago was, well, I thought I had to do something.
Got to celebrate one way. Puck goes back into the Barrie zone. 10 seconds left in the period. That's deflected. Demiglio takes a bump. Up to Witkowski. That doesn't connect. And that's going to be icing with 4.9 seconds left on the clock. So we'll get one more face-off back in the Brampton zone.
Well, it's definitely been a spirited period, if anything. I mean, you got two fights already. Troy Patton, Kayshawn Aitchison, Luke Govro, and Manuel Amato.
Yeah, it was a feisty start to this hockey game, but since then, Brampton has been kept off the shot clock. It's now 13-3. Big face-off to the right of Bowen. Scrambled draw. Gardner trying to get it. There's the shot blocked by Hicks. And that'll do it for the opening 20 minutes. So no score to report here from the CAA Centre, but Barrie Colts got off to a bit of a slow start in that first period, but really started to turn things on a bit there and got the momentum, but Bowen shutting the door.
Why are we blurring?
I don't know. Earlier, everything was black. It's the light. It's got to be the lighting here at the CAA Centre.
Something's up. Anyway, yeah, it was a really good period for Zach Bowen, and he's one of those guys that can really come to turn it on. He's not always perfect in net. He's got an .891 save percentage on the season, but he's a guy you can rely on to play a lot of games and be a good mentor. I mean, last season with Easton Ryan, Peterborough, this season with Luke Johnson, the Steelheads second-round draft pick this season. Johnson's a young guy. He's got a chance to be the goaltender of the future for the Brampton Steelheads, but as of right now, he's struggling a bit and has gone through a couple tough games as of late, coming off 15 out of 20 in one of his last starts. So trying to improve on that record as of right now for Johnson. But Bowen, like you mentioned, he's a guy that can kind of turn on the pace. And here tonight, 13-13. I also thought I looked pretty good at the Sadlin Arena a couple of weeks ago.
I like how Liam says we've ascended. That's what it looks like. I don't know what the lighting's doing to the webcam tonight. We'll have to, I don't know, who knows what we're going to look like come the second intermission. But getting things back on track here. The Barrie Colts, of course, made that big move there at the OHL trade deadline, trading with their Central Division rivals. It's usually a questionable thing to do at the trade deadline.
Seems to be the very thing, though, now.
For these last 2 years, because last year it was the North Bay Battalion, but this year Brampton and Mason Zabeski, a big part coming to the Barrie Colts. It took him a bit to get that first goal as a member of Barrie, but he's fit in quite nicely. He's got that physical game and plays that Barrie Colts style that we keep hearing about from Dylan Smoskowitz.
Yeah, the Barrie Colts are like the only team in the OHL that loves trading inside the division. You saw the trade with technically it was two trades with Brampton. Here's the trades were split up, and then you had two with Niagara in the offseason, two with North Bay last year, and then Gabriel Eliason as well came over from Niagara, and Tristan Bertucci was part of that three-way deal, was technically from the Niagara Stocks. But yeah, Zabeski and Von Richter, I think they fit right in. And Mason Zabeski, you saw it right away. I mean, he clicked. And, you're going to hear in this interview talking about that line of Cole Baudouin and Emil Hemming. And we talked on the ride down about the Canadian Olympic team and how Zach Hyman kind of perfectly fits McDavid because he's the guy that can get into the corners, get those pucks for Connor McDavid. And it kind of works out for both of them where Hyman's getting more points and McDavid has a really good winger. Mason Zabeski's kind of the Zach Hyman, the Cole Baudouin, and Emil Hemming. He's just a guy that can go into the corners, get those pucks, and then get those pucks for Baudouin and Emil Hemming, who are the guys that are going to find the back of the net.
Yeah, he's not the flashy type. He's not going to wow you with his stick handling. He's going to go and he's going to punish. He's going to battle in the corners, and we've been seeing it ever since he was acquired from the Brampton Steelheads at the OHL trade deadline. So we'll join that conversation that Josh McCann had with Mason Zabeski pregame here at the CAA Centre.
Joined by Colts forward Mason Zabeski. Mason, it's your first time back here in Brampton. Just take me through kind of the emotions and leading up to this game.
Yeah, it's definitely a kind of game that I had marked on my calendar for a little bit, being that I've been in this building for 2.5 years, and then with the organization for 4, and then, I don't know, it's a pretty exciting feeling being here again and looking to win.
Now, you got a couple opportunities to play them in January at home at the Sadlin Arena. What was that experience like playing on some of your former teammates?
Yeah, it's definitely different kind of being on the other side of those jerseys, kind of knowing those were my teammates and they aren't my teammates anymore. But yeah, I don't know, it was pretty exciting, and I think it'll be a good one tonight as well.
What's the experience been like here in Barrie? Obviously, having Parker Von Richter along your side, has that made the transition a bit easier here?
Yeah, coming with PVR made it a lot easier, just kind of having that little comfortable aspect to it, to the trade, and just being with somebody that I've known for a while. But I couldn't be more happy with how it's gone here so far, and I'm super happy with the group of guys we have and the coaching staff and everything, and pretty excited to go on a run with the guys.
Now, you've played in the playoffs every season in your OHL career. How huge is that experience going to be for you leading into this run for you guys?
Yeah, I think every year I've played, I've kind of learned more and more about playoffs and what it takes to kind of move on, and I'm looking forward to bringing that this year.
Last weekend, you guys had a couple of big games against Flint and Saginaw. You end up getting your first goal as a Barrie Colt against the Firebirds. How important was that for you to kind of get it out of the way?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, with my game, points aren't kind of the thing I worry about the most, but it was kind of nice to get that weight off my shoulder and just play a little more freely now. Yeah, I'm super pumped to kind of keep rolling.
Obviously, seeing you on the ice here over the last month, a lot of big hits, a lot of big blocks. Is that what your kind of focus is on?
Yeah, that's kind of my bread and butter, is a defensive power forward that can kind of turn that defense into offense. I think I have multiple levels to my game, and no matter if I have an off night or an on night, I'm always bringing something every night.
Now you've started playing on a line with Cole Baudouin and Emil Hemming. What's that been like playing with two guys that are first-round NHL draft picks?
Yeah, I mean, they're phenomenal players. They make my life super easy, and you can tell playing with guys like that, like they're going to go somewhere with their careers, and it's honestly awesome to play with them.
Kind of feels like you're almost a perfect fit there. You're a guy that gets into the corners for them, and then they're the big goal scorers.
Yeah, it is a really cool kind of mix of 3 guys, and having Kobo as a leader, and even though he's younger than me, but the way he plays and like where he's been with his career, I think it's something I can look up to and kind of pickpocket from him and kind of elevate my game as well.
Now we're getting into the month of February now. Stretch run's kind of getting close to that moment where you guys are getting close to clinching a playoff spot. How important are these next couple of weeks, especially this weekend, 2-2 with North Bay?
Yeah, super important. I mean, they're divisional games, and I think we're looking to elevate our game every month and every week until playoffs, and I think it starts now, and we just look to keep climbing.
So welcome back to the CAA Centre in Brampton, as it's the Barrie Colts and the Brampton Steelheads. First intermission, no score to report. I can report that Josh McCann right now off to the concession stand looking for those French fries. So we will do the CAA Centre French Fry Challenge, I guess we'll call it. We did have a couple of contributions from fans here in the chat. Thank you very much, Liam and Richard, for your contributions to the broadcast. If it wasn't for everyone tuning in, we wouldn't be able to do these broadcasts. We appreciate your support. We will get to the chat in just a few minutes, and we'll wait and see how long it takes to get Josh back up here in the booth. But let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboards, as it's a busy night around the OHL. First off, the Kitchener Rangers taking on the Guelph Storm. These two teams, right now, if the playoffs started today, they'd face each other in the opening round, but it's the Guelph Storm up 1-0 on Kitchener after the first period of play. In London, the Knights now trailing the Niagara Ice Dogs by a score of 3-0. So Niagara playing some much better hockey of late. In Kingston, the Frontenacs are up 4-0 on the Owen Sound attack. Going into the second period, no score to report between the Sarnia Sting and the Oshawa Generals. The Saginaw Spirit, they're up 2-1 on the Erie Otters. Now to note, if Erie loses in regulation tonight, that means Kitchener, Flint, and Windsor all clinch a playoff spot. So if that's a regulation loss for the Erie Otters tonight, those three teams punch their ticket into the 2026 postseason. Up in Sudbury, no score to report between the Wolves and the Spitfires. That's at the first intermission. And also after the first, the Flint Firebirds right now up 2-0 on the Sioux Greyhounds. So as I mentioned, it's the first intermission here at the CAA Centre. No score to report between the Barrie Colts and the Brampton Steelheads. I talked a bit about the playoff clinching scenarios for the Western Conference. In the East, if the Barrie Colts win in regulation over the Brampton Steelheads, the Brantford Bulldogs will be the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the East. So we'll see what happens at that point. So we're about 9 minutes away from the start of the second period. Still waiting for Josh to come back from the concession stand so we can test out the French fries here at the CAA Centre. But we do have the chat up and running. So we'll take a look at the conversations. And Lee has joined the chat. He says, I know playoffs are an entire different monster, but who do you or what do you see being the Colts' biggest obstacle to winning the OHL championship and going to the Memorial Cup? And right now, with the way that the Eastern Conference is looking, I think the safe answer would have to be the Brantford Bulldogs. The Ottawa 67s right there with Brantford, but that's going to be a telltale game tomorrow at the TD Arena in Ottawa. Those two teams ready to go head-to-head tomorrow afternoon. Right now, if my memory serves me right, Ottawa 3 points back of Brantford for first place in the Eastern Conference standings. So with the Barrie Colts, if they can win the Central Division, and it looks like they will, they'll take the second seed if they can't catch the Brantford Bulldogs. So even if Ottawa has more points than Barrie, the 67s will finish third. So those are the two teams to watch for the Barrie Colts as they make this march to the OHL championship in the postseason. And I look for the comments. Let's go down here. Brantford is the monster in the room, but there are some teams that have found their win this last couple of weeks that are looking dangerous. That's from Liam. And he also adds the scouts and the GMs have done a good job this year in the league. And also the way that North Bay played last night against Windsor, there are some dark horses looking to upset. And I was just going to say, for the Barrie Colts, if the playoffs started today, you're looking at the Kingston Frontenacs as a first-round matchup, but Kingston's caught up to both Niagara and North Bay. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Who do the Barrie Colts play in the first round of the playoffs? Is it going to be Kingston, Niagara, or North Bay? And all three of those would have their challenges. But that North Bay Battalion team, we're going to see them the next two nights back at the Sadlin Arena tomorrow and then Sunday afternoon. That's a North Bay team that you can't take for granted. They're a younger group and getting some good goaltending right now from Jack Lisson. Of course, McIver has been out of the lineup, so you can't go wrong with either goaltender when it comes to the North Bay Battalion. Now, Tammy also saying, remind everyone to wear pink tomorrow for the Colts game to help fight cancer. I'm wearing a pink wig and have a sign that says, I'm fighting for my mom who passed away with cancer. So a great reminder there, Tammy, for the Cancer Awareness Night at the Sadlin Arena. So if you've got your pink, wear your pink and wear it proud. And it's always a nice touch when we can come together for these events. I know cancer has touched a lot of people. I can even think of in my family of people who've been battling cancer and whatnot, or who have battled cancer. It's a vicious disease. And if we can raise funds and raise awareness, that can go a long way. So remember that for tomorrow as the Barrie Colts take on the North Bay Battalion. So about 6 minutes away from the start of the second period, Barrie right now heavily outshooting the Brampton Steelheads 13-3. It's been a wild first period. We had a couple of scraps. The first one between Luke Govero and Emmanuel Amato. Those two had a very spirited tilt. And then Kayshawn Aitchison throwing a big hit on Keaton Arda. And Arda ended up leaving the game. We haven't seen him return as of yet, but Troy Patton stepping up. So we had Aitchison and Patton drop the glove. So a pair of 77s. Wasn't this most spirited bout between those two, but still, it's Kayshawn Aitchison standing up for himself there. So good showing there from the co-captain of the Barrie Colts. Now, Lee is saying, Mike, can we see you or Gene with a pink wig? If they've got a pink wig big enough for my head, why not? And we'll have to wait and see on that front, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So we're still waiting for Josh to come back. I didn't think it was going to be that busy downstairs in the concession area, but still waiting for him to come back. And I know that the Brampton Steelheads get a bad rap for fan support, but pretty decent number of fans here at the CAA Centre here tonight. And I know the concessions can be a little tough going at times. We even got some Barrie Colt fans who've made the trek down the 400 to see their team take on the Steelheads. But it's, we'll have to wait and see when we get Josh back here. But we're about 4:18 to go. Hopefully we're able to do this French fry challenge as now I'm starting to get a little hungry. Also, the lighting's still all off here in the press box. So our apologies. We didn't bring the spotlight with us here tonight. So it's a little darker than usual. So next time that we're here in Brampton, we'll make sure that we bring the spotlight so we don't have this weird lighting going on here in Brampton. And Lee is saying Josh just didn't want to share his fries. I hope he wants to share fries. I was excited to try the French fries. Still, I got to say the French fries in Owen Sound were fantastic. But I can't wait to see what is in store here. And hopefully Josh can make it before the start of the second period, or I'm going to be doing this game by myself for a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. Or he's being held up. Hopefully he has his press pass and he can get past security at the elevator to get back up here. But time will tell. So we're now down to 3:20 left to go here in the second period. Also just want to say thank you to everyone tuning into the chats and just tuning into this broadcast. We wouldn't be able to do this without your support. Also for our sponsors, they're a big reason why we're able to do this, going on the road and driving across Ontario and also into Michigan and Pennsylvania. I'm thinking of Frontline Hockey Apparel. They're our power play sponsor, so we appreciate their support. Also for Mariposa School of Skating, doing our Coach's Corner. Fantastic contributor to the channel for them. And also Georgian Communities, a big sponsor there for the 3 stars. And also the starting goaltender. So thank you to our sponsors. And we do still have sponsor spots available. So if you own a business and you want to hop on board and be a sponsor here or an advertiser here on the channel, you can always send me an email from the booth with Mike@gmail.com, and we can get your business featured here on the broadcast. Now, Tammy's saying, if you are tired of French fries, the hot dogs, I like in Barrie, they're big. I haven't tried the hot dogs yet at the Saddleland Arena, so I'm going to have to take your word for it there, Tammy, and maybe the next time we're here in Brampton, we'll move on to the hot dogs or something else here, just to change things up when it comes to trying the concession foods at the OHL arenas. And it's definitely a fun aspect when you go on the road, seeing what every arena is known for, as they have all their characteristics. But still waiting for Josh to come up. But maybe he's also getting a hot dog. You just never know. He could be mixing it up. We'll have to wait and see on that front. So the coaching staff, they're now back on the bench. We got the officials on the ice. So just about ready to go for the second period of play. Right now, no score. Barrie right now out shooting the Brampton Steelheads 13-3. The Colts right now making it out onto the ice. We saw William Schneid leave after taking a high stick. I'm just trying to see as the Colts come on the ice if Schneid is going to be back out there. Not seen Schneid as of yet, but we'll keep an eye on him. And then, of course, for Brampton, Arda, he left the game in the first period after taking a hit from Kayshawn Aitchison. I have yet to see Arda back. But William Schneid, he's now out there. He's actually got the fishbowl. So he's got the full shield after taking that high stick. So good news there for Barrie Colts fans. William Schneid, he is back on the ice. So Schneid will be back in action. But no Keaton Arda for the Brampton Steelheads. He is yet to return to this game. So that's a bit of a hit. As Arda, he's picked up his game of late for the Brampton Steelheads. Looking at his numbers, 11 goals, 4 assists, 15 points in 45 games this season. He's actually really picked it up of late for Arda, playing on that second line with D'Amiglio and Amidovsky. That's kind of the future line there for the Brampton Steelheads. But we still haven't seen Arda return after taking that hard hit in the first period. So still no Josh McCann. I think I'm going to be doing the second period on my own for a little bit as two teams are on the ice. They're getting ready to go. Now we'll have to wait and see. When does Josh McCann return to the press box? I have to check my phone. And just seeing, and we'll just wait. Apparently he's being recognized down in the concession stand by Barrie Colts fans. But right now, the second period underway. Barrie will dump this one in. Bowen's going to send it around. Vader can't keep that in the offensive end. Puck goes all the way down the ice. Emil Hemming there to pick it up for the Colts. Amidovsky on the forecheck. He'll drop it there for Von Richter. Parker Von Richter along the boards. Passes this one up to Zabeski. Zabeski sends this one in. Back to play it is G. Taken away there by Cole Bodwin. Puck sent back to the point. Kept in by Von Richter. Von Richter sending this one around. Emil Hemming picks it up here for the Colts. He's tied up by D'Amiglio. Cole Bodwin drops it back to Hemming. Hemming around the board, sends it back to the point. Von Richter doesn't take the shot. Now he will. Into the crowd. Loose puck. Bowen pounces on it. Zabeski tried to get to that rebound. But Zach Bowen able to cover it up. And yes, Richard saying the show must go on. I think we've now said that a couple times here tonight. First the lighting, and now with no Josh, who's on a mission trying to get those French fries. And Tammy saying he's talking to the girls. Well, he said he's talking to Barrie Colt fans. Or that's what he's saying. So we'll have to quiz him on that when he gets back up here in the press box. So we'll get this face-off now to the right of Zach Bowen. Taking the draw will be Ben Wilmot up against Matej Stankoven. Those two line up. They're going to get some final instructions here from the linesman. Puck bouncing, picked up here by the Steelheads. They're going to get it out to center. Kayshawn Aitchison settles this one down at his own blue line, sends it ahead. Wilmot got a stick on it. Puck rolling to the net. Mason Roy is there to collect it. Sends it up to Hicks. Hicks can't get a stick on it. Kept in at the point by Wilmot. Up ahead to Gardner. There's a shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Passmore off the point. Evan Passmore around behind the Brampton net. Passmore down low. Takes down the official. The official seems to be okay. Passmore sends it around the boards. Gardner trying to get a stick on it. Here's Joe Salandra. Salandra along the boards. Comes back to the point. Trying to protect it. Sends it back. But that's going to escape the zone and go all the way back into the Barrie end. Rebick there to play it. He'll send it forward. Ben Wilmot chasing after it here for the Colts. Puts it across, but that's blocked by Williams. Steelheads with it at their own blue line. Amato sends this one forward. Witkowski off the bench. Witkowski drops it back. No one there for Brampton. Puck goes behind the Barrie net. Witkowski sending this one around. Wilmot stopped there by Amato. Amato being held up by Wilmot. Steelheads trying to move this one around. Here's Witkowski. Comes back to the blue line. Gives it one up to Nyman. That goes away from him into the corner. Colts pick it up. Cole Bodwin picks up momentum. Reaches center ice. Bodwin still with it. Backhand pass to Hemming. Hemming hits the brakes. Puts this one back. One-timer Zabeski. Stopped by Bowen. What a chance there for the former Steelhead. There's a collision in the corner. Bodwin takes down his man, but the puck's going to go down the ice. Emerton up to Hemming. Hemming puts it across to Zabeski. He'll enter the zone. Mason Zabeski stopped by Nyman. Zabeski gets it again, trying to drop it there for Bodwin. Zabeski back to the blue line, picked up by Emerton, takes the shot, and that one's deflected out of play. And we'll get a face-off in the Brampton zone. It's a couple of good chances there for Mason Zabeski. Had the one goal in the game last weekend. As look what the cat dragged in. It's Josh McCann.
Well, I would have been on time.
Okay.
The people in front of me then ordered fries themselves, and then they ran out of French fries, and I didn't realize they were going to be out of French fries, so then they had to make more French fries, and
How do you run out of French fries?
Well, because they have like a section there with like stuff ready, and they had like one fry left, and I thought I was gonna get it, and I get up there all smiling. Can I have a French fries, please? And they're like, yeah. And then
Well, I'm glad you made it back. You haven't missed much.
I was worried I missed a goal or something, but
You almost did. Zabeski had a good chance. Now it's Schneid down low. It goes around the Brampton net, wrap around, takes the shot, and Bowen's looking behind him. It looks like it stayed out, but William Schneid with that fishbowl does the wraparound, and he's denied.
well, William Schneid, it's the new mask, like you said. Shout out to the Colts fans I saw down there. They were very happy to see me. I think I've never been. All of a sudden, all I hear is "That's the Barrie guy!"
Really?
It was that girl with the Durbridge jersey.
Oh, we saw the Michael Durbridge jersey across the ice.
She's got her whole crew with her, and they're very excited. And
Well, that's great. And you're bonding over French fries.
yeah,
That's perfect.
I didn't have the French fries yet, but
Oh, okay.
they actually slowed me down on my trek for the French fries.
Steelheads get this one down the ice. Eggleton fires it on net. Horevic taking his time. And he's going to hold on to it here and get another faceoff. Govro mixing it up now with Stankoven. But nothing more will come of that. And we'll get a faceoff back in the Barrie zone.
Govro's had a good presence so far tonight. That fight, he had a couple chances and a couple of physical moments as well.
Well, Govro definitely making his presence known back in the lineup. He didn't make the trip to Michigan last week as he was under the weather. But with Desiderio serving that suspension, there's a spot for him there on the fourth line, so he's getting regular minutes. Roy fires that one, and that one stays out. It's just bouncing around behind the net. Newton can't get this one out. Picked up by Williams. Von Richter with the hit. Puck goes behind the Barrie net. At the point, Mason Roy. He's going to send this one around. The official ends up falling. Puck goes to the corner. Von Richter after it. Eggleton trying to send this one around. Here's Stankoven. Matej Stankoven has that one knocked into the corner. Bonnie's just sliding around on that far side. Colts pick it up. It's Eamon Edgar. He's going to get this one out to center. Here's Edgar. Enters the zone, hits the brakes, stays with it. He's knocked down by Hicks. Play continues. Steelheads with it. They're going to move it up. Quickly ahead. Here's Witkowski on the wing. Witkowski drops it back to Roy. Roy shot. Just misses the net. Roy and Govro then crashing into the boards. Goyette keeps it in. Witkowski to the net. Picked up here by Amato. Trying to go back to Witkowski. Ends up in the corner. Witkowski back to Nyman. Takes the shot. Stop. Rebound. Picked up by Von Richter. And the Colts defenseman will get it out and down the ice. That's going to roll on net, so no icing. Goyette there to pick it up as the Colts trying to make a line change. Richmond, that's blocked by Salandra. Witkowski gets it in the corner. Drops it back. Picked off by Gardner. Here's Ben Wilmot. Wilmot skates this one ahead. Drops it back to Gardner. Brad Gardner along the wing. Amato trying to tie him up. Takes him into the boards. Picked up by Wilmot. Ben Wilmot sending this one around. Gardner knocks it out of the air. Stays with it. Back to the point. Wilmot up the middle. His shot stopped by Bowen. Far side, Emidovsky. He'll take this one behind the net. Salandra trying to get a stick on it. Picked up here by the Steelheads. They're going to move it out. Amato reaches center. That pass picked off by Wilmot. Great work there. Ben Wilmot up ahead to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison goes to Gardner. Brad Gardner flips this one around the boards. Kayshawn Aitchison gets it on the far side. Down low, Nyman gives it to DeMiglio as the Steelheads will get this one out. Picked up at center ice by Gabriel Eliasson. Puts to an open wing. No one there for the Colts. Goyette sends it forward. Eliasson blocks that pass attempt. Up to Wilmot. Here's Bodwin. He's got Hemming going to the net. He's knocked down. Nyman trying to send it ahead. Hemming in front, but no one there for the Colts. DeMiglio weaving his way. Reaches center. Ahead for Emidovsky. Back to DeMiglio, but that goes off his skate. Emil Hemming picks up momentum through the neutral zone. Hemming on the wing, stays with it, hits the brakes. Hemming along the boards, backhand pass, near side to Eliasson. Eliasson with a shot, deflected, rebound, backhand, stopped again by Bowen, as Mason Zabeski had a great chance, parked in front. But Bowen will get the better of his former teammate.
Yeah, nice look there for Zabeski as the Colts top line trying to get them on the board here. His shot's now 17-5 in favor of Barrie, and nice backhanded look there by Zabeski, but Bowen able to get a glove on that one.
I feel like we're starting to see that
wave of offense from the Barrie Colts, much like we saw Saturday night down in Saginaw.
Started late in that first period there on that second power play. They started getting some looks.
Yep, getting that momentum. 14-19 is still to play here in the second period. Face off to the left of Bowen, won by the Colts. Zabeski takes the shot. That goes over the net. Pucks to the side of the goal. Hemming trying to get a stick on it. He's tied up by G. Peter Green. He'll send this one out for the Steelheads down the ice. It's rolling. And that's going to be icing against Brampton, so they can't make a line change. So this is coming back.
Well, if it was 5 seconds later, they would have got the TV timeout break, but. So.
I like that in the NHL where they don't take the TV timeout on an icing.
It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, because the whole idea of not doing the line change is punishing them for icing the puck.
Well, you might as well be able to do the line change then. Like, okay, you give them 45 seconds now, go. And you'll see that, though, in the NHL. There's a lot of strategy when it comes to that. Often teams trying to delay things off the icing.
There's a shot off the draw, stopped by Bowen. That was Cole Bodwin who fired that one. As Bowen will hold on to it. And now we get the horn, so that's going to be a TV timeout. And I think I'm going to have to come up with a list of things we'd like to see change, because I think we've talked about a few now here on the broadcast when it comes from scheduling to even the face-offs on icings.
Now schedules, realignments.
We've covered so much.
Video reviews. I propose no more offsides.
Could you imagine? You'd have someone cherry-picking every time.
Could you imagine being the guy that just sits in front of them? Oh, you guys can defend.
Well, they used to have the rover like 100 years ago or so in the NHL.
Were you around for that?
No, I just read it in a book, okay? I don't usually read books, but I remember reading that.
I was there.
I was just a young man.
In another life.
You could break it. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
In a past life as an NHL player.
So we're 6 minutes into the second period, still looking for our first goal of the game, but you have to give credit here to Zach Bowen. He's been quite steady here for this Brampton Steelheads team tonight.
That's another strong game for Zach Bowen, and allowed 4 goals on 33 shots last time these two teams faced off, but done a good job since. Or sorry, he stopped 32 of 34. I was looking at Johnson's stats.
Face-off won by the Colts. Passmore sends it down to Zabeski. Bodwin gets the loose puck. He's going to skate this one around. Hits the brakes. Bodwin trying to get a lane. Goes back behind the Brampton net. Around the far side. Takes the shot. Blocked there by Hicks. Hicks will put that one off the glass and takes a hard hit from Bodwin. Won't be enough for icing. Passmore up to Aitchison. Aitchison up to Zabeski. Zabeski trying to find Bodwin, but Hicks gets to it first. Steelheads get it down the ice. That's going to roll towards the net. Evan Passmore's there to play it. Passmore dropping it back behind the net for Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison to Zabeski. Got a stick on it, but that was before the center line. And now it's an icing call against Barrie, and they'll bring this one back.
Just a message for those that like to simulcast our streams. Just to know, Flow Hockey is currently undergoing a network outage. As they have posted on Twitter, we are aware of a network outage. We sincerely apologize for the inconvenience this is causing. Our teams are working to resolve this issue as quickly as possible.
Well then. Shots right now 20-5 in favor of the Barrie Colts as Barrie quickly up the ice. Here's Cole Bodwin. Takes the shot. That's deflected over the net. Near side, Aitchison winds up. Can't get there in time. Steelheads get it out. Vader back to pick it up here for Barrie. Being chased there by Amato. Teague Vader up the wing. Finds Zabeski. Mason Zabeski up to Schneid. Schneid dropping it back. Goes off a stick. Crombie couldn't get to it. Zabeski delivers the hit on Black. Schneid back to Zabeski. Pass deflected. Ends up at the point. Von Richter shot stopped by Bowen. Kicked out that right pad. Amato being pressured there by Schneid. Goes over to G. Green G reaches center. He'll dump this one in. Off the end boards. Teague Vader back to pick it up for the Colts. Vader trying that long pass. Didn't get all of it. Crombie tied up there by Botno. Got Goyette sending it back to Nyman. Nyman up the wing. It's going to be dumped in. Von Richter chasing after it. No icing. Parker Von Richter in a battle in the corner. Botno is there. Loose puck picked up by Crombie behind his own net. Up to Schneid. William Schneid skates this one out. Reaches center. Sent that one in the zone, but that's going to be offside with 12:08 remaining here in the second period.
Well, still looking for our first goal of this one. It's either team has scored a goal here between these two teams in either of the games at the CAA Centre. The only goals have came in a shootout.
Well, remember what Smoskowitz said in the coach's corner? He said he's okay if there's no goals, as long as it's a 0 for the opposition.
We're getting close to 100 minutes without a
goal
at the CAA Centre this season.
It's just unreal.
I hope it's not like that on the school day game.
Yeah, that's the next time we're here in Brampton. That's in March. March 4th, I think, is the school day game. And that's going to be another offside against the Barrie Colts. I'm really curious what the environment's going to be like for that school day game here.
Well, we're pretty close to like the crowd. Like there's suites right to the left of us, and then down a row there's some guest spots in the press box for non-broadcasters, and then right in front of them is the crowd. So kind of similar to the Sadlin Arena, where you're right with the crowd in the press box.
Yeah, so that we're still going to do that broadcast. It's an 11 a.m. start here at the CAA Centre, March 4th.
We'll really need a coffee fund for that one.
Yeah, and I'm curious how traffic's going to be coming down that morning.
It's not like it's been good in the evening.
Right? Although we made much better time coming down today.
It was hard to get worse on the first time.
Right? Steelheads will send this one down the ice. It goes on net, so no icing. Hrabic guides that one to the corner. Stankoven after it. Wilmot trying to knock it free. Eliason behind the net. Here's Brad Gardner. Gardner flips this one in the air. Bouncing at center ice. There's a hard hit. Eliason runs over Williams. That hurt. Jackson Williams, he is not moving that left arm. Play continues. Puck's down low. Witkowski sends it up. Off the bench was Richmond. He got a stick on it, so no icing. Jackson Williams, he's in a lot of discomfort on that Brampton bench. Cole Emerton in his own zone, ahead to Gardner. Brad Gardner sends this one across to Wilmot. He's going to send it in the zone. Bowen behind the net to play it. Slows it down. Joe Salandra backs into his man. He reversed into Nyman. Puck comes in front. Eggleton will get this one out and down the ice. That one's going to roll to the line, and another icing call against the Steelheads. As Brampton still sitting on just 5 shots here as we're approaching the midway point of the second period.
Now they're not getting a lot of shots and very cold. So kind of been running them over in the physicality game. A lot of big hits. Just saw Solander there, Eliason, Keishon Aitchison in the first period took a piece out of Keaton Arda there. And it's been an interesting game so far, almost halfway through regulation.
Well, we still haven't seen Keaton Arda return after taking that hit in the first period. And Jackson Williams, he's on the bench, but he's in a lot of discomfort. So we'll keep an eye on that as Brampton already playing shorthanded. Colts send this one around. Von Richter had a piece of it along the boards. Govro, that got away from him. Steelheads with it. Eggleton sends it across to Richmond. Tips this one into the Barrie zone. Von Richter there to play it. Drops it for Jaden Newton. Newton ahead for Govro. Luke Govro. He falls. Colts want a penalty. None coming. That goes into the Brampton zone. Picked up by Roy. Now we've got a penalty. And it's going to be for a hook. I think this is a late penalty call. As heading to the penalty box will be William Eggleton.
It's took a second, but the Barrie Colts are going to get their power play here. And Eggleton there for the hook. Colts power play getting their third look of the evening here. Yet to score so far, but
this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Face off one by the Colts. Here's Von Richter at the point. Goes to Hemming across one-timer, and that's stopped by Bowen. That was Aitchison who fired it. Keishon Aitchison gets it again for the Colts. Down to Beaudoin behind the Brampton net. Here's Hemming on the near side. Back to Von Richter. Back to Hemming. Emil Hemming along the boards. Looking at his option. Goes back to Von Richter. Takes their shot. Stopped by Bowen in front. Colts can't get to it. Botno collects it. And he'll get it out. Skates into Von Richter. Puck rolls down the ice. Hrabic out of his net to play it. Von Richter there to pick it up here for the Barrie Colts. We're past the midway point of the hockey game. Still no score here at the CAA Centre. Hemming, he goes down, goes over to Wilmot. Ben Wilmot across. That goes off Patton. rolling towards the net. Beaudoin picks it up here for the Colts. Cole Beaudoin hits the brakes, sends it to the corner, picked up by Hicks. He's going to send this one around, but ends up into the netting and out of play. It's deflected, so that won't be a delay game penalty.
Nice look there for Aitchison. That booming one-timer that we see so often. Vaughn Richter got it across to him and then kind of hit off the side of the net there. So you kind of initially wonder if it went in, but no, off the side of the net. Steelheads keeping the puck out 23 of 23 now for Bowen. He's had a fantastic game. It's the only reason it's still scoreless.
Power play now down to just 1 minute remaining as Emerton can't keep that one in the zone. He's going to put it across to Salandra. Back to Emerton in his own zone. Colts regroup. Emerton dropping this one back. Here's Salandra. That pass deflected. Getting a stick on it was Witkowski, but he can't recover. Crombie's going to go around his own net. Picks up some momentum. Calvin Crombie, he's going to go for a skate. Reaches center. Crombie enters the zone. Waits. Goes around the Brampton net. Passes it back to Gardner. Gardner back to Emerton. Emerton over to Salandra. Emerton to Gardner. Gardner in front. That misses that far post. He's trying to bank it off Zabeski. Salandra down to Zabeski's side of the net. Gardner waits. It bands on it. Couldn't get that shot to go. Puck goes behind the Brampton net. Zabeski trying to send this one around side of the net. It's loose. Stankoven loses his helmet. He's going to have to go off. Puck comes back to the point. Here's Cole Emerton. Emerton takes the shot. Stopped by Bowen. As the Colts continue to generate chances, but cannot solve Zach Bowen.
They've been smarter there for Emerton to try and work that puck around. Stankoven losing his helmet there has to go off. So the Colts had a little 5-on-3 action there for a couple seconds, but that was the only shot they could get out of it.
4 seconds left in the penalty to William Eggleton. Faceoff will come to the right of Bowen. Jaden Newton's going to take the draw here up against Julian DeMiglio. Faceoff won by the Colts. Here's Schneid off the draw, takes the shot, and Bowen juggled it a bit, thought about playing it, but instead he'll cover it up as that shot kind of handcuffed Bowen a bit.
Yeah, hit off his glove and then kind of just sat there. I think he thought he may have had it, and then he got the stick out there. I wondered if he was going to try and flip it all the way back the other way. If Eggleton had gotten out a second or two earlier, he would have tried that for a potential break, but just decides to cover it up, and the puck remains in the Brampton end where it's been most of this period.
Face-off won by the Steelheads, trying to send this one around the boards. Carter Lowe, he takes the hit from DeMiglio. Steelheads get it down the ice. And that's going to be another icing call against Brampton. That's been the usual here in this hockey game, just the amount of icing calls against the Brampton Steelheads.
Yeah, some rough stuff here. Newton and Goyek going at it. You're still chirping here.
Yeah, Jaden Newton getting under the skin there of Sean Matthew Goyette. They're going to bring this face-off back into the Brampton zone because of that icing. 8:17 left to go in the second period.
Well, it's definitely been a physical one if anything could be said about this game.
So we'll get the face-off here to the left of Bowen. Right now, the officials having a conversation at the timekeeper's bench. Kayshawn Aitchison's coming over to get an explanation.
Well, Jaden Newton's coming back out. Did he get a penalty?
Well, they're pointing at the back of the jersey. I wonder if Newton's getting... They're checking his tie down. I think he's getting a penalty for not having his the jersey tie for an equipment related penalty.
Well, the Colts don't seem too happy. Aitchison and Moskowitz both not a fan of the call, it seems, and that's a different one.
Well, you're supposed to have the tie down strap. The fight strap has to be attached. So with Newton, he was mixing it up there at the end of that whistle. So if Hillary Brennan, the official, noticed that the tie down wasn't hooked up, that's a penalty. So the Brampton Steelheads, right now, it looks like they're going to get the power play. Still some confusion on the ice right now as to where this face-off's supposed to be.
Well, it'll probably come out into the neutral zone here because of icing plus the power play. So it should come out in the neutral zone. And that is one of the rules. The icing does help the Barrie Colts there still, but now they're coming down to the Brampton end. And the Colts still have 5 players out on the ice. So I guess Newton's just getting a misconduct now.
Okay, yeah, because they had Newton's number on the board. Now they've taken it down. So it's going to be a misconduct for a...
I'd be interested to know if the... I'm not saying anything because I couldn't tell, but I wonder if the same 5 guys are actually out here for Brampton or if they were able to sneak any guys off.
That's a good question. Well, the Steelheads, they get the puck out to center ice. Passmore's going to send it deep. Bowen out of his net. It's in the corner. Just got to it in time. Ben Wilmot stops it at the half boards. That's deflected. Eggleton's going to skate it out. Eggleton sends this one deep. So it's illegal equipment, 10-minute misconduct on Jaden Newton. So that's because of the tie on his back of his jersey.
It's a good catch by you.
Well, thank you. Puck goes deep, ends up behind the Brampton net. Steelheads get this one ahead. That's going to end up at center, knocked down by Salandra. Joe Salandra, backhand pass up to Ben Wilmot. Wilmot's going to skate this one in, trying to cut to the middle. He's tied up. There's a broken stick. That's a Steelhead player who lost it. Near side, Wilmot. Wilmot passing it in front to Aitchison. That went off his skate. Into the corner, banks it in front. Loose puck picked up here by Hemming. His shot blocked by Green. Puck goes to the corner. Picking it up here is Ben Wilmot. Comes back to the point. Across to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison towards the net. He's bumped. We got a penalty call coming. And it's going to be for a hook. So another power play upcoming here for the Barrie Colts.
I was on Aitchison. Well, Aitchison drew the penalty, I should say, as this one going against Justin Botno as he'll head to the box. Aitchison was driving the net there. Zach Bowen feeling around on his helmet there. Aitchison got in pretty close on him, so hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be attended to, but we'll have to wait and see. But this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Face off to the right of Zach Bowen. Cole Broadwin's going to take the draw against Patton. Face off won by the Colts. Ends up at the blue line to Von Richter. Von Richter with a shot blocked in front. Hemming gets it here for the Colts from the corner. Comes to the half boards. Emil Hemming to the middle. Takes their shot. That's blocked by Patton. That went right off his knee. He is slow to get up, but the puck ends up in the neutral zone. Patton hobbling. He stays out there. Doesn't even have a stick. Hemming takes it down low for the Colts. Has it in the far corner. Hemming taking his time. He'll send it down low to Cole Bodwin. Back to the blue line. That's Aitchison. Aitchison back to Bodwin in the corner. At the point, Von Richter. Von Richter, Hemming, one-timer. That's deflected over the net and out of play. And now Patton, he is hobbling as he's going to make his way to the Brampton bench.
Tough to see for Troy Patton there. Well, Colts getting another makeshift 5-on-3 there and coming close to capitalizing. It's the third Steelhead now this game to go down. They're dropping like flies. It's unfortunate to see for Steelhead's team that's currently trying to compete in this game, and they may be down a whole forward line by the end of this game.
Yeah, it's turning into a mash unit. And except Jackson Williams is now back on the ice for Brampton, so that's a good sign. But
he looked like he was
stretching that shoulder. Here's Von Richter across. One-timer Aitchison, and that's stopped by Bowen. As Kayshawn Aitchison second in the OHL with power play goals on 12. And nearly added to it.
Yeah, another good look there for Kayshawn Aitchison. Leads all of the OHL defenders in goals total and power play goals as well. One OHL defenseman of the month in the month of January. And didn't have too much going last weekend, I felt, but it was a really good month for Kayshawn Aitchison, especially right after he came back from the World Juniors. Remember that those first 2 weekends, Baudouin, Hemming, Aitchison, and Wilmot, those 4 looked so dominant.
Power play now down to a minute 7 here for the Colts. Baudouin at the point. Along the boards, battling with Richmond, goes down to Wilmot. Wilmot takes it around the net. He was tied up. Steelheads get it out. That's going to go down the length of the ice. Parker Von Richter back to play it. 54 seconds now remaining in the man advantage. Von Richter up to Baudouin at the blue line. Backhand pass deflected. Finds Kayshawn Aitchison. Aitchison sends this one deep. Nyman trying to cut him off. Baudouin, though, gets to it first. Hemming sends us back to the point. Wilmot to Von Richter. Across to Aitchison. Doesn't take the shot. Aitchison down low. That pass deflected by Nyman. Bodwin back to Aitchison. Aitchison to Von Richter. Von Richter juggles it a little bit. He's able to recover. Drops this one back to Hemming. Emil Hemming with possession. He'll send this one back to the point. Von Richter fires. Stopped by Bowen. Hemming gets to the rebound. Back to Aitchison, but getting a stick on it there was McGregor Richmond. Von Richter gets it again here for the Colts at center. 8 seconds left in the power play, but Stankoven nearly took it away. And now we're going to get a penalty. It's going to be for a hold. And this is going against the Barrie Colts. It's Parker Von Richter heading off.
Well, it took 35 minutes into this game. The Steelheads are going to get their first power play of the night. We'll do 5 minutes of 4-on-4, and then Brampton will get to power play. Thought they were going to get one of the Jaden Newton penalty, but they don't, as that's a misconduct. And now we'll finally get to go to work, and the crowd very appreciative of that.
So 5 seconds of 4-on-4. Face-off will come to the right of Ben Horebic. Julian D'Amiglio set to take the draw here for the Steelheads up against Brad Gardner. Brampton right now has one too many players.
James Richmond pulls Roy out. He goes, look at the clock.
You got to wait. Well, Patton is back on the ice here for Brampton, so that's a good sign after taking that shot.
I told you they were excited about the power play.
They haven't had one all night. Face-off won by the Steelheads. Hicks sends it up to D'Amiglio. So it's now a power play for the Steelheads, their first of the game. D'Amiglio down low. Back to Hicks. Carter Hicks. Looks back to the line. Here's Roy. Here's Sud. Emitovsky blocked there by Passmore. And the Colts are able to get this one down the ice. Power play ranked 13th right now for Brampton in the OHL. 19.1%. Well, the penalty kill for Barrie right now 9th overall. 79.7%. Steelheads move this one in. Here's Patton on the far side. He's going to send it around. Ends up at the near point for Hicks. Hicks down to Emitovsky. Back to Hicks. Hicks, though, can't get it. Emitovsky turns it over to Eliasson, and that's going to be sent out to center. Roy from his own blue line. He's going to backtrack here for Brampton. 1:05 left in the man advantage. Steelheads right now changing up the power play unit. Mason Roy's going to come back to play it here for the Steelheads. Or actually make that Zach Nyman. Nyman up ahead. Here's Goyette. That goes off his skate. Ends up deep in the Barrie zone. Goyette, he falls and avoids the collision there with Gabriel Eliasson. Puck sent down the ice. 42 seconds now remaining in this man advantage for Brampton. Nyman, he'll skate this one out. Zach Nyman reaches center, skates this one in, gets by Zabeski. Nyman with a shot. That's going to go wide of the net. Goyette at the point. Keeps this one down low to Stankoven. Stankoven from the corner goes back to Goyette. Goyette takes the shot. Stopped by Horebic. Puck's loose. And the Colts netminder able to pounce on that one with 20 seconds left to go in the power play for Brampton.
We're looking at the first 5 Steelheads that went out there on that power play. Carter Hicks and Mason Roy, the 2 defenders they had out there. Those are 2 guys that they acquired at the deadline that wouldn't have had that opportunity in their prior home. Owenstown, Mason Roy didn't get a lot of playing time. And then for Carter Hicks, of course, he got a couple really strong defenders there. Carson Woodall, one of the best offensive defensemen in the OHL this season. So obviously not a lot of power play time to go for those guys on their old team, but getting that opportunity here to prove themselves to the league.
Steelheads keep it in the offensive end. Here's Goyette. Big shot stopped by Horebic. Puck goes to the boards. Witkowski puts that one off the official. 3 seconds left in the penalty to Von Richter. Colts have possession. They're going to skate it out. Here's Calvin Crombie on the wing. Crombie has it knocked off his stick by Stankoven. And then he's dumped after the whistle, as that's going to be offside against the Colts with 3:03 left to go here in the second period.
Well, mentioning Carter Hicks, he's done a good job since coming over. 6 points in 10 games with the Brampton Steelheads. And he's got more points than Jakob Fibiger does in Windsor. That's kind of the theme of the 2 Spitfires trades. They trade out a couple of guys in Hicks and Lemieux that weren't getting playing time. They go to new teams, get playing time, and are now scoring more points than the guys they acquired.
Well, it's surprising, but at the same time, you're seeing their talent on full display, getting that extra minutes. Like J.C. Lemieux.
He's one of the best players in the league right now.
Like what a fit
for him with the Sudbury Wolves right now.
Well, like Brampton fans over the year, or Brampton fans, Windsor fans last year, they've been trying in chat rooms. That's always the guy, it seems like. Windsor's buying this season, maybe the next season, and they're saying, okay, who are we trading out, though? And for all these big pieces that they want to get, the name was always J.C. Lemieux. J.C. Lemieux, teams are going to like J.C. Lemieux, and eventually it's the Sudbury Wolves that end up getting Lemieux in exchange for Villeneuve and Ferran, and it worked out right away. He's been a fantastic piece, and it's kind of disappointing that we've already done 7 of 8 games with the Sudbury Wolves, because that'd be an interesting guy to watch.
Well, even Nathan Villeneuve, he's fit in quite nicely with that Spitfires team. So that's been a great trade for both sides. But as you mentioned, Hicks and Fibiger, an interesting stat line there, with Hicks getting more points as a member of the Steelheads so far.
Well, I think both trades are win-win. Like, don't get me wrong, Windsor worked out pretty good in both those deals. So it's just interesting to see how quickly those guys have fit in.
Baudouin trying to go to the net, ends up behind the goal. Loose puck, Von Richter after it. That pass ends up at the point, just kept in by Hemming. Sends it down low. That pass taken away by Green. Green's going to flip this one down the ice. Picked up here by Vader. Vader up the wing. Hemming tips it ahead. Here's Cole Baudouin. He's got Zabeski going to the net. Zabeski has it knocked off his stick by G. Zabeski goes behind the Brampton net in front. Baudouin blocked there by G. Steelheads get it out. Black on the wing, trying to get around Aitchison. Sam Black, the former Barrie Colt. He'll put that one deep. Vader back behind his own net to play it. Vader up to Hemming. ML Hemming gets a stick on it. Doesn't go too far as Hicks turns this one around. Hemming had it for a moment there. Hicks avoids the hit from Zabeski, sends it into the Barrie zone. And we're going to get a whistle here. As I think the puck may have hit someone on the Brampton bench.
It's interesting looking down in that Barrie zone right now. One of those pieces of glass stands out from the other, a bit of a different shade there. That's of course, the glass that Alex Asadorian broke the last time we were here. But I think the more interesting note here, Mike, is that last weekend on the other side, the Oshawa Generals broke the glass in warm-ups.
Yep. There's some about those soft spots in the glass here at the CAA Centre.
Well, it was actually early January against Niagara when the Colts played them at the Sadlin Arena. They had to do a little repair to the one glass panel behind the one net after the game, in fact. So we almost had 2 incidents like that.
Here's Ben Wilmot, takes it towards the net. Around the goal he goes. Wilmot does a lap in the offensive end, leaves it for Aitchison. Aitchison sending it down low. After it, here's Salandra. Joe Salandra comes out of the corner, passes it across, and that's deflected out of play with 1:22 left to go now in the second period.
28 shots now for Barrie, out shooting Brampton by 20. Ben Horebic probably getting bored down there outside of that power play. He doesn't have much to do tonight.
Well, goaltenders usually like to have a lot of action.
Well, it's like a secondary big skill in a game like this. Sometimes when you face 8 shots, you're so out of the game that you let a couple in.
Face-off won by the Colts. Evan Passmore takes it down low behind the net to Ben Wilmot. Wilmot drops it back behind the net, goes off the official, stays in the corner. Stankoven takes Gardner into the boards. Richmond loses it to Salandra. Salandra towards the net, off the end boards. Gardner around the net. Passes that in front. It's blocked. Patton gets a stick on it, taken away there by Wilmot as we're now in the final minute of the second period. There's the shot in front, falling with Salandra, but puts that one wide of the net. Stankoven on the far side gets the line and out. It's going to go down the length of the ice. Icing is waved off. Troy Patton will be the first one on it for Brampton. Trying to put it in front of Richmond. That was taken away by Eliason. Gardner picking it up now for the Colts. Puts that one off the glass. Carter Lowe after the bouncing puck. That's going to roll to the nets, and Bowen covers this one up. So we'll do this face-off back in the Brampton zone with 30.3 seconds remaining, and we have these French fries sitting there, so we will do the French fry challenge at the end of the second period before we do the Mikey K interview.
I don't know if you've noticed I've shifted closer to you. The smell was taken over there.
Well, with the lack of goal scoring, there's been times where it's like maybe we should
just do the French fry challenge. But that'd be the time they'd score. We're like,
yeah, when we get a French fry in our mouth. Well, we just gotta wait 30 more seconds.
So close.
Face-off one by the Colts. There's the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. At the half boards, Eggleton will get it to the line. Not out. Kept in by Carter Lowe. Now the Steelheads get it out. Here's Cole Emerton. Backtracking in his own zone. Passes it up to Crombie. Calvin Crombie. He'll skate this one in for the Colts. Crombie loses the handle of it. Botno takes it back the other way. 6 seconds remaining. Eliason takes a swing at it. And that puck's going to go on the bench. Now we got Amato mixing it up with Eliason, giving a few jabs. Those two continue to wrestle on the far side. And I think we're going to get a couple of penalties out of this.
Well, Eliason and Amato, both known for they're pretty familiar with the penalty box, the two of them. Amato, 34 penalty minutes. Eliason, this will make it up to 92 for him now. And Amato will be up at about 39 after the fight. And they'll both head down the tunnel right away. Only 3 seconds left. No point in sitting in the box. The interesting thing I've noticed, though, as the teams are now going at it at the benches, but Jane Noonan and Troy Patton have both gotten misconducts that normally you'd see them go down the tunnel because they're not returning in the period, but both of them have actually sat in the box for the remainder of the period.
Well, with only 3.7 seconds left this time around, might as well let them get a little rested ahead of time. Looked like Eliason had to duck going into that tunnel there. Here at the CAA Centre.
They got the tent.
Yeah.
They go under a little tunnel there. That's different. I'm surprised they get that, but the Steelheads don't.
Yeah, but you want to high five the fans as you go off.
That's true.
Well, every rink has its charm. So it's going to be a 4-on-4 situation to end the second period, and then we'll start the third 4-on-4. Face off outside the Barrie blue line, won by the Steelheads. That'll go down the ice. And that will do it for the second. We're still waiting for our first goal of the hockey game. As I don't know if these teams can score goals here at the CAA Centre.
Apparently not. I mean, the Barrie Colts, they've put up 29 shots so far tonight, but haven't been able to find the back of the net. Last game between these teams at the CAA Centre felt pretty even. The shots ended up 32-30, something close like that. But here tonight, the Colts, they've really had all the chances. Ben Horebic hasn't been busy at all. And truthfully, if I'm being honest, he really hasn't made one save that entirely stood out. He hasn't made a huge save. Zach Bones had to make a couple of big ones. Brampton's had a couple decent looks. Don't get me wrong, but Ben Horebic hasn't made that Superman save yet, though. We're
so used to. Yeah, it hasn't been a Ben Horebic kind of night.
No, he hasn't been pressured too much at all. And
there was the one power play for Brampton.
I thought they had a really good power play there. The Colts have yet to score on the power play. It was better than Barrie's first 2 power plays. They didn't really get much going on that, but both teams got a power play there in the second period. They both got some good pressure on the netminders, but Horebic and Bowen did a good job shorthanded to keep this game scoreless.
So shots 29-8 for the Barrie Colts. And the moment we've been waiting for, it was a delay coming into the first intermission. The French fries are here. Yes, they're going to be a little on the cold side, but some good presentation here.
Nice little cart.
You can see the potato skin.
Yeah.
It's a good fry. Actually, this is still kind of warm.
Yeah.
That's a good quality box.
I can see they got some salt on it. I didn't have any time because the game had already started to get any condiments or salt.
Oh, the ketchup and whatnot?
I see some salt, which is a good sign, and here we go.
They're okay. It's not Owen Sound.
No.
Owen Sound had that crispy exterior, the fluffy interior. This just tastes like a fry. It's dry.
I kind of like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This would be a good poutine fry.
I think they had fries with gravy going, and it's pretty pricey, though.
Was it?
If you're coming to a Steelheads game, just be warned. If you want to get the hamburger combo, it is $20.
$20? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for going down and getting that. I know that you said that the line was a little slow, but
it was a pretty slow line. There's one right below us. I didn't go there because the line was huge there. So I had to go all the way around back past the place we got our waters and all the way down there past the media room and everything to get to the French fries. But
or the chips.
Eventually got
Liam keeps calling them chips.
Got the chips.
They're chips, not fries.
Found one that had about 3 lines going, a cash line. That's
Okay.
the Josh line, and then
That's the Josh line.
and then the debit and credit line, and
So they accept cash here at the CAA
they
Centre.
do apparently. I didn't realize that.
Because most rinks that we've gone to, it's cashless.
There's a lot of cashless facilities. Luckily in Barrie, we still accept cash, which I think should be the norm. But
Okay, so for Liam, he's saying out of 10, 3 being oven chips, 10 being British chips.
I've never tried British chips.
No? Okay, well, what would you rate these ones?
6.
Okay, yeah,
I'd say if we're doing rankings, we got Owen Sound, then we got Brampton.
okay.
We'll go from there.
We're going to have to write this down so we remember as we go through the OHL,
I like
the ranking of the fries.
Barrie's got pretty decent fries, and that smell of poutine always takes over. So I'll include Barrie there. We got Owen Sound 1. I'd say Barrie 2, Brampton 3.
Okay, so I'm going to say, I'm agreeing with you. 6 is a good score.
Yeah.
Because Owen Sound is definitely a 9.
Yes.
So, okay. So that's the French fries or the chips here at the CAA Centre. So we do have a bit of a snack while we do the interview with Mikey K. Mikey K is the broadcaster for the Brampton Steelheads. He's a very fun individual. He's someone that you can always chat with when he comes to the Sadlin Arena. And as soon as we walked here the press box, he was excited to say hi, and such a friendly face here with this Brampton Steelheads organization. So here is the interview that we had pregame with Brampton Steelheads broadcaster Mikey K.
Joined by Brampton Steelheads play-by-play voice for the road games, Mikey K, and you also do the hosting duties on the home games. You do a little bit of everything here at Brampton.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Mike. Yeah, I do the play-by-play on the road and the hosting at the home games, and very lucky to be doing what I'm doing and having a blast.
And for the Steelheads team, right now sitting 9th in the Eastern Conference standings. I know it's been a long season, but you guys have been picking up some points of late, and especially the win recently against Guelph and also Oshawa.
Yeah, it just seems like, ever since the trades of Mason Zabeski, Parker Von Richter, and Jakob Fibiger and Gabe Sherratt, after those trades, it kind of took a little bit for the team to come together. It seemed like maybe a little longer than usual, I guess maybe you could say. But this past weekend, it just seemed like the team really came together in Guelph. It was a big 4-1 win on the Friday, and Keaton Ardaugh was absolutely fantastic. And that line of Keaton Ardaugh, Julian DeMiglio, and Nathan Amidovsky really came alive in that game. The forecheck was really good, and it was a big win to start the weekend. And then on Saturday, it was a 2-1 win against the Oshawa Generals here at the CAA Centre. But it was a great overall performance by the Steelheads team again. But Zach Bowen was phenomenal in both games. And then you move on to Oshawa, and a little bit of tough luck there, going into that third period up 3-2. Oshawa ties it up, then wins it in overtime and whatnot. But again, you could see the teams really starting to come together now. So, and there's fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, there's 6 points behind it, or 4 points. Excuse me, 3 points. My goodness. 3 points behind the Sudbury Wolves for that last playoff spot. But they're going to need everything from everybody going forward, especially with the forecheck, with the defense, the team play. And if anybody's going to make sure that that's intact, it's James Richmond.
Yeah, and this is a team that was hit the hardest really from that NCAA vote with Martone heading off, Ivankovic, Misa, but the team got off to a great start to the year, and you got to figure James Richmond, I think you've called him Bill Belichick in the past.
Yes.
And he's laying the foundation here for this team.
Yeah, he does. I mean, it's either you play hard for James Richmond, right? And he changes people, and he changes players for, average players into good players. You look by his resume there, and you got Thomas Harley, one of the graduates who now plays for the Dallas Stars. I mean, you got Owen Tippett for the Philadelphia Flyers. But yeah, they did get hit by the NCAA rule, of course. Martone, just like you're saying, Jack Ivankovic going to Michigan, Luke Misa, he moved on as well to the University of or to Penn State and whatnot. So I mean, and you lose Angus McDonnell, you lose Finn Harding as well, Stevie Lescavar. These are all 19-year-olds, right? So I mean, what do you do? So as I said, so you come into the year with Gabe Sherratt, Jakob Fibiger, and company. You're at the trade deadline. So what do you do if you're James Richmond? You go younger, right? So you do what you had to do, and junior hockey, as you know, is a cycle, right? And but they did get hit, but this team is really looking up right now.
And I think they did a great job getting the 2 first-round picks back in the 2025 priority selection, Arda and Green. And those are great pieces to build around. Then you also add Amidovsky from the Ottawa 67s. And the future is looking bright here for the Brampton Steelheads.
Oh, absolutely. You pick up Carter Hicks as well. I mean, he was one of the number 1 defensemen in Windsor for a young guy, right? So, but now he's going to get more playing time. He was one of the number 1 defensemen, but they kind of dropped him down. What I'm trying to say is so. But yeah, he did a good job recruiting the picks, picking up some good young players as well. So Nathan Amidovsky, you give up a pretty penny for him, but I mean, you got to pay what you get for it, right? So that's the way it goes. But this is a team that's on the rise. They're a young team. And as I said, they're really coming together, but they're going to need every single part of the forecheck, of the defensive game, of the goaltending to get that last playoff spot. And they still have to play Sudbury 3 more times, the Steelheads. So we'll see what happens there.
And 2 of those games are up in Sudbury. So it's not going to be the easiest matchup, always going up north. But, James Richmond getting these guys focused, heading in the right direction. And, you win those games and you're right in the battle of it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's 3 more games against them, 2 more games against the North Bay Battalion as well. But yeah, those are the 3 games. And there's 20 games left. I look at it this way in the regular season, right? So how much is 20 games? That's 40 points, right? So that's a lot of time. I mean, Sudbury can, maybe go on a down streak. The Steelheads, maybe they can catch fire. It's not going to, that last playoff spot most likely is probably going to come down to the last 2 weeks of the season, in my opinion. But yeah, as you said, to your point, Sudbury is a very, very tough place to play, especially in that Sudbury arena, right? So, but we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the future. And James Richmond always has these guys ready to go and in practice, and he's a great players coach.
Well, Mikey, thanks for doing this. And I know when we were driving down here, it's like, we got to catch up with Mikey. We got to get him on the broadcast. So appreciate you doing this.
Hey, thank you so much, Mike, for having me, and have a good broadcast.
Well, it's the second intermission here at the CAA Centre in Brampton, and still no score report. Something that we saw the last time we were here in December. That one ended up going the distance to finally get a goal in a shootout. I saw Tammy use the OT word. So if it goes that far, it's Tammy's fault.
It's Tammy's fault. We're blaming Tammy too.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Works for me.
So it's the second intermission. It's going to be a 4-on-4 situation to start the third period with Eliason in the penalty box along with Amato. But we do have the chat up and running. So if you want to take part in the conversation, you can put your comments and questions there, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But it is a busy night around the Ontario Hockey League. So let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Yeah, 7 other games going on tonight. Not blurry anymore.
I think I fixed it. I don't know what I did, but I fixed it.
I did something.
There we go.
The Guelphs normally open the scoring against the Kitchener Rangers, but Kitchener with 3 in the second period to make that score 3-1. Barnburner in London 4-3 for the Niagara Ice Dogs. Ryan Robrick with a pair in the first period of that one. another 4-3 game. The Frontenacs came out flying with 4 goals in the first period. Owen Sound responding with 3 of their own to make that one a 4-3 score after 2. 2 goals for Sarnia in the second. They're up 2-0 on Oshawa going to the third period. Big game between Saginaw and Erie, 2 teams battling for that final playoff spot in the Western Conference. Saginaw currently the 8th seed. They lead 3-1 over the current 9th seed in the Erie Otters. Windsor and Sudbury. It's the return to Sudbury for Ferran and Villeneuve. Alex Ferran with the current game-winning goal. They're up 2-1 on the Wolves after the second period. Flint is in the Sioux, taking on the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. 2 goals for Nathan Aspinall, including a shorthanded marker to make it 3-0 for the Firebirds.
So some interesting scores there around the Ontario Hockey League, and I touched on it in the first intermission, but since you're here, we can expand on the chat. The playoff implications. So for the Eastern Conference, if the Brampton Steelheads lose in regulation time here tonight, the Brantford Bulldogs will be the first team to clinch a playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. And with the way this game is going, that's still undecided. I'm sure Bulldog fans keeping a close watch on this score. But then in the Western Conference, if the Erie Otters lose in regulation time and Windsor, Kitchener, or Flint win, those teams clinch a playoff spot.
Yeah, if Erie ends up losing any of those teams in regulation, if any of those teams win, they end up getting a playoff spot.
Yeah, because right now, Kitchener, Windsor, and Flint all tied for top spot in the Western Conference, all with 71 points.
In the West. Those 3 teams going head-to-head, I mean, we kind of got a similar race, but Brantford's kind of in that pole position right now. There's no really pole position in the Western Conference. All those teams so tight. You mentioned all these teams close to clinching a playoff spot. I believe if my math is correct, the magic number for the Barrie Colts to make the playoffs, clinch the playoff spot officially would be 8 points. And with the way that works, it's a combined amount of Barrie's points and Brampton's points. So if Barrie Colts could take the lead here in the third period, gain 2 points. Brampton doesn't get 2 points in this game. That'll get it down right away quickly to 4, and Colts could technically clinch by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, so it's amazing how fast the time is going by as the playoffs get underway at the, I think it's 5 weeks, 6 weeks
March
time.
March 22nd, last game of the season, and then that'll be a Sunday. They'll probably get things going the next weekend, and things are similar to past years for the Barrie Colts. If the home show is back on at the Sadlin Arena, we'll get the old Thursday, Monday, and that sets us up for a back-to-back, which is always interesting in the playoffs. But I gotta say, the Barrie Colts probably feeling pretty confident about themselves in a back-to-back scenario because Dan Horebic has proven in the past he can do games on back-to-back, and if he was ever too tired to go in Game 3, Armin Jaswal would probably give the Colts a pretty good start.
Yeah, and it's going to be a busy weekend as well for the Barrie Colts. It's the start of a 3-3. So here in Brampton tonight, it's the second intermission. No score to report here, but then a home-and-home series against the North Bay Battalion back at the Sadlin Arena tomorrow, and then up in North Bay Sunday afternoon. We'll have that broadcast here on the channel, so if you want to join in the conversation, the live stream will get underway at 1:45 p.m. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday, but maybe they'll run the clock so we can get home in time to watch the Super Bowl.
Potentially, it's we're calculating now what time we'd be back in Barrie for the Super Bowl on Sunday there, and yeah, I mean, shouldn't hurt the stream though because we're kind of the pregame show.
We'll get you ready for the Super Bowl.
Buy double the snacks this year, double the food, and come watch us up in North Bay.
And hopefully we'll have some more goal scoring. Because apparently every time we're here in Brampton, the teams can't score.
North Bay has peppered the Colts with shots this season over those first 3 games. Tons of chances for the Battalions and Barrie Colts as well. They've had their chances. But you remember that last time these 2 teams faced off, Bodo and Aitchison having all in the line for Barrie Colts. Ben Horebic faced 50 shots in that game and somehow found a way to get the Barrie Colts the win in that one. So it'll be interesting to see. It's a big weekend here, and those 2 p.m. games in North Bay are always interesting because Barrie Colts they have Saturday home games, so that kind of hurts Barrie with matchups with North Bay because North Bay are often playing them on Sunday afternoon, so you have to come back from that Saturday game. So luckily for Barrie this year, the schedule's worked out. They've had 2 home and homes with North Bay, so you get rid of 2 of them road games at 2 p.m. And then the other one was that first game after the Christmas break. So Barrie Colts, they haven't had to do Whole game at 7:30 at the Sadlin Arena while North Bay sits back and relaxes and gets ready for the 2 p.m. game yet this year. And they won't do it at all this year. Sorry.
Exactly. So the two teams now coming back on the ice as we're getting ready for the third period of play between the Colts and the Steelheads. No score to report, although shots heavily favoring the Barrie Colts 29-8. Brampton only had 3 shots after the first period, so an improvement there, but Barrie doing a great job shutting things down in the neutral zone and forcing the Steelheads to ice the puck quite a bit here tonight.
Now, Brampton got 2 shots in the first half of that period, and then they added 3 more there on that power play that kind of got things going. We'll see if they can carry over that momentum here into the third period. Similar to how we saw Barrie. They start ramping up that pressure late in the first period and then carried it over to the second. And Gabriel Eliasson and Manuel Amato both going to be in the box here for the next minute 57. So we'll have a long stretch here of 4-on-4. Maybe that can get the game broken open and we'll get our first goal of the night.
So I have to wait and see what's in store here. But the Barrie Colts having a pretty good game offensively. It's just Zach Bowen. He has been stellar between the pipes here for the Brampton Steelheads. And even when you look at the power play difference, the Barrie Colts, 4 power plays so far tonight, but have not been able to capitalize. And for Brampton, just 1 power play to their credit. And that was late in the second period. But it is a 4-on-4 situation here to start this third period of play for a minute 57. So a lot of room out there for these two teams. Barrie Colts going with Bodwin, Aitchison, and Hemming up front, and Emerton on the point as this third period underway. Face-off won by the Steelheads. Nyman's going to skate this one back behind his own net. Zach Nyman up ahead. Picked up here by Amidovsky. He's going to go for a skate. Amidovsky enters the zone. They'll peel back to the point. Amidovsky puts it across, trying to go to Nyman. That ends up going into the corner. Nyman behind the Barrie net, trying to set things up here for the Steelheads. Nyman facing pressure there from Emerton, stays with it. He's taken into the boards by Emerton. Aitchison ties up Amidovsky. Colts pick it up. Here's Cole Bodwin. Up ahead for Emil Hemming. Hemming's got a lane, trying to go to the net. Takes the shot, misses that far post. And that puck's going to sail all the way back into the Colts zone. Cole Emerton back to pick it up here for the Barrie Colts. 1:10 left in the 4-on-4 situation. Kayshawn Aitchison, he'll skate it in for the Colts. Flips it up to Bodwin. Bowen got a piece of it. Cole Bodwin with possession. That's poked off his stick. Here's Hemming. Fires, and Bowen makes the save. He lost his paddle, but that doesn't seem to phase him, and he'll hold on.
A good chance for the Colts there as Aitchison was able to move that puck to Cole Bodwin out front, who was able to get past the defender there. And good opportunity, but Bowen able to make yet another save. 31 of 31, so far tonight.
Face off to the right of Bowen. Ben Wilmot's going to take the draw here against Stan Codeman. Face off won by the Colts. At the blue line, it's Von Richter. He's going to flip that one to the corner, gives chase himself. Mason Roy gets to it first. Roy gives it up to Witkowski. Witkowski, dangerous play there. Almost gave that one up. Puck goes back into the Barrie zone, picked up by Vader. Teague Vader from his own blue line. Stays with it through center. Passes this one over to Gardner. Back to Wilmot. Here's Von Richter. Parker Von Richter. At the blue line, riding it. Keeps this one in. Goes to Wilmot. Wilmot goes up the middle. Takes the shot. Scores! Ben Wilmot puts it under the bar and in. And we have our first goal of the hockey game.
Well, it took a while, but the Barrie Colts do strike first. The Steelheads giving Wilmot plenty of space to work with through the zone there as Goyette lost Wilmot as he spun around the zone and was able to find the back of the net. Another goal for Wilmot. Finally, we have a goal.
So for Ben Wilmot, that's 20 goals on the season. And yeah, like you said, we finally have a goal.
106 minutes and 30 seconds of play here at the CAA Centre between these two teams, and we have our first goal.
I'm so glad you know math.
Please drop the puck.
Face-off won by the Steelheads, so the Barrie Colts up by 1. It's still a 4-on-4 situation for 22 seconds. Puck ends up behind the Brampton net. G with possession here for the Steelheads. They'll peel this one back. He's facing some pressure there from Brad Gardner. Green Up ahead for Amidovsky. Amidovsky reaches center, trying to carry this one in. He will. Amidovsky passes it to Patton. That goes off the skate of Von Richter. Colts pick it up. Turnover, side of the net. Horebek's going to cover it up. As getting a stick on it there was Nathan Amidovsky, but Horebek able to cover it up.
Well, Tammy using the word overtime again. She must not know about that's the broadcasting rule. You can't say the word overtime or shootout or you get in trouble. To be fair, I used the word shootout on a Rogers broadcast a couple weeks ago, and no one noticed. I kind of got through it smoothly. I was scared people were going to yell at me. I was trying to get my point across in a story, but no one noticed.
And that's a broadcasting win.
I'm 1-0.
Puck goes deep into the Brampton zone. Here's Zabeski trying to put this one in front. Picked up here by Stankoven. Steelheads move this one up. That's taken away by Aitchison at the blue line. Kayshawn Aitchison. He'll pass this one ahead. Here's Calvin Crombie. Crombie has a lane to the net. Takes the shot, stop, rebound. Zabeski fire stopped again. Two big saves there by Bowen. Steelheads move it up. Stankoven through the neutral zone. He's going to flip this one deep. Horebek stays in his net. Kayshawn Aitchison's there. Puck comes up the middle, right to Witkowski. Stopped by Horebek. Kieran Witkowski's had a couple of gifts. There's another turnover. Stankoven. He can't get the shot to go, and the Colts move it up. Zabeski. He'll flip this one down the ice. Ends up behind the Brampton net. Steelheads with possession. Nyman's going to leave that one there for Goyette. Zach Nyman up the wing. Getting a stick on it there was Witkowski. Colts can't pick this one up. Witkowski gets it again here for Brampton. Nyman shot wide of the net. Horebek got a piece of it. He's reaching with his glove. Miglio back to the blue line. Goyette. He's going to send this one around. Puck comes the near side. Nyman coming off the point. Schneid comes up with it for the Colts. In front, Horebek had the paddle down, and he's going to hold that puck to the side of the net and get a whistle with 16:36 left to go.
Well, Brampton starting to ramp up the pressure here, getting a couple opportunities as they try and tie this game up now at 1. And Switkowski getting a nice opportunity. Aitchison tried to go through the middle, didn't get all of the pass he was looking for there. And Witkowski intercepts it out of open lane there on Ben Horebek.
So Brampton now sitting on 9 shots to Barrie's 34. As the Steelheads trying to respond after giving up the go-ahead goal to Ben Wilmot. Here's Eggleton along the boards in a battle there with Eliasson. Loose puck. The Colts defenseman comes up with it. Back to Emerton. Up the wing. Delayed penalty call coming against the Barrie Colts. It's going to be against Eliasson. He flipped the stick of Amato away from him. So the Steelheads carry it up. Here's Eggleton. Eggleton across into the skates. Shot stopped by Horebek. And now we'll get the call. It's going to be an interference penalty going against Gabriel Eliasson.
Gabriel Eliasson there, a pretty easy call for the official to make as he slammed that stick away from Amato. And something you're not allowed to do. Obviously, a broken stick on a power play, you're allowed to move that out of the way. But there, as Amato's trying to bend over to get the stick, Eliasson moves it out of the way, and Brampton will get a power play. Almost didn't get it, though. A nice chance there by Sam Black. Still looking for his first career OHL goal, and was nearly there against his former team with an opportunity to tie the game.
So this is the second power play of the night for Brampton. Faceoff comes to the right of Ben Horebek. Patton's going to take the draw up against Brad Gardner. Faceoff picked up here by the Steelheads. Puck's at the point. Nyman sends it around. Patton behind the net. Trying to send it around. Blocked by Passmore. Aitchison comes up with it. Kayshawn Aitchison sending it ahead to Carter Lowe. Aitchison follows it up. Nyman gets in the way. Colts just taking it along the boards. Puck rolls to the net. Amidovsky takes the shot. Stopped by Horebek. It's underneath him. And he's able to hold on as Nathan Amidovsky suddenly had a clear path to the net.
A great look. Patton knocks it free, and then a nice play to tip it between the legs of Evan Passmore there, and Amidovsky trying to fake out Horebek, but Horebek wasn't falling for it, and was able to get enough of that puck as he went down to the ground to keep it out, keep the Barrie Colts out in front.
So face-off will come to the left of Ben Horebek. 1:36 still to go on this man advantage for Brampton. Face-off won by the Steelheads. Witkowski sends it towards the net. Patton backhand, blocked by Aitchison, and he's just going to send this down the length of the ice. Bowen can't play it. Puck rolling in the corner. Nyman comes back for the Steelheads. 1:22 still to go in the power play. Here's Amidovsky through the neutral zone. Backhand pass to Botno. Trying to go back to Amidovsky, but that rolls away from him, and Horebic, he's just going to cover this one up.
Well, 9 goals now in the season for Amidovsky, and the Brampton Steelheads able to acquire at the deadline. That was their one move of kind of buying. They traded some of their draft picks for Amidovsky, and maybe looking at that and say it as a player available and thinking, hey, he's going to be better for us in the future than someone we're going to take with any of these draft picks. So give that a try, and interesting to see how he can develop in the next season for them.
Yeah, he's going to be a key piece along with Green and Arda. There's the Steelheads moving this one around. It's at the point. Shot kicked aside by Horebic. Loose puck. Crombie trying to get it out. He will. Ends up putting that over the glass. And this is going to be a delay of game penalty now against Calvin Crombie. Or I believe it's going to be delay of game.
We're going to have a discussion. Crombie hasn't been told to go to the box yet.
Unless they're going to say it was deflected. Well, they're having a long discussion about this one. So I think the original call was delay a game, but the linesman coming over and giving his take.
Well, we'll have to see.
Well, Calvin Crombie, right now he's on the bench.
Well, they're coming over to get him, I think.
Well, right now, Dylan Smoskowitz having a conversation with the official. It's a lengthy discussion here. Now it's
Crombie.
Yeah, now Crombie's coming out on the ice. So they've got the penalty now posted on the board. So now it's a 5-on-3 situation here for Brampton for 57 seconds.
Well, penalties can become an issue. And we're Barrie Colts. Huge 57 seconds here. Big opportunity for the Steelheads. Chance to get back in this game and tie it up. Their goaltender's giving them a shot. Now they'll have an opportunity here.
So the Colts quickly send it down the ice. Nyman there to pick it up for Brampton. Amidovsky, they'll skate this one in for the Steelheads from the corner. Nathan Amidovsky around the net. Goes back to the blue line. Hicks to Nyman. Those two will trade places. Nyman winds up, passes it over. In front, Hicks doesn't take the shot. Back to Nyman at the point. Fans are growing restless. There's a one-timer, but not able to get all of that was Amidovsky. Puck's in the corner. Patton comes up with it. Back to Nyman at the point. Zach Nyman goes to Amidovsky. His shot through the crowd and wide of the net. Picked up here by Hicks. He comes back to the blue line. Carter Hicks to Amidovsky. Doesn't take the shot. Now he will stop. Rebound. And D'Amiglio can't collect it. Back to Nyman. Comes back to the point. Zach Nyman waits. Still with it. Reaching for its Bodwin. What a defensive effort there by the co-captain. First penalty has expired. It's now 5-on-4. Eliasson is out on the ice for the Colts. Brampton still with possession. Hicks sends this one across to Nyman. Nyman waits, fires, blocked by Bodwin. And that's going to go out of play with 52 seconds remaining.
A great effort there by Cole Bodwin. And outside of the clear by Evan Passmore off the faceoff there, the Steelheads had the puck in the end. In the Barrie Colts end that entire time with a 5-on-3, but not able to get too close to Ben Horebic outside of that one chance. Good job by the Colts shutting it down.
The Barrie Colts not giving Brampton much to look at on this man advantage. Puck ends up in the corner. Stankoven trying to get a stick on it. Back to the blue line to G. Here's Roy. Mason Roy waits, fires, stopped by Horebic. Roy gets it again in the corner. Gardner, though, takes it away from him, and that's going to go down the length of the ice. 33 seconds left in the man advantage here for Brampton. Barrie Colts up 1-0. Ben Wilmot, the goal scorer. That was at the beginning of this third period. Puck enters the zone. Witkowski has to skate back for it. That's sent around, down low, picked up by Stankoven. Stankoven behind the Barrie net. Backhand pass to the point. Down low, shot off the side of the goal. That was Stankoven firing that one from the corner. Steelheads get it back to Goyette at the blue line. Goyette waits. His shot scores. That one gets through, and the Brampton Steelheads, with 1 second left in the power play, have tied it at 1.
Well, big goal there for the Steelheads, and this one's going to be Sean Matthew Goyette's first career OHL goal. Defender in the lineup with David Green out tonight for the Steelheads, and he's able to get the puck on the point, sends it all the way down, and beats a Rebick. Guy on the ice with a fish.
There's a fish on the
There's
ice.
a fish on the ice, and that guy came sliding in. We're not too sure what happens when Brampton scores. That's the first goal we've seen. At Mayhem, I got distracted again.
Well, right now, too, one of the linesmen is being attended to at the Brampton Steelheads bench. Didn't see what happened to him. As that's Will Dykeman, who's being attended to right now at the Steelheads bench. Looks like they're looking at his face. Not sure if maybe there was a high stick of some sort, but either way, it's a whole new hockey game. 13:01 left in this third period, and Matthew Goyette, he has tied this game at 1.
That's what happens when you take penalties. I mean, Gabriel Eliasson knocking a stick away from Amato. Play was away from, didn't really need to. And then Calvin Crombie trying to clear it. Puck ends up out of play. And all of a sudden, the Steelheads are on the power play for just over 3 minutes there. And they're able to find the back of the net.
Well, that's been a common theme this season, has been the discipline and staying out of the penalty box. And the Brampton Steelheads take advantage. Dykeman, the linesman, he seems to be ready to go. So we'll drop the puck. As we're tied at 1. Steelheads send this one deep. Bonno trying to be the first one on it. Beats Passmore to the puck. Amato from the corner. He'll send this one back to the blue line. Kept in by Green. Takes the shot. Kicked aside by Horebic. Colts trying to recover. Wilmot up to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin skates this one in for Barrie. Drops it back to Wilmot, but couldn't get a stick on it. Puck sent to the corner. Green. He'll come up with it for Brampton. Picked up by Wilmot. Wilmot weaving towards the net. Backhand. Stopped by Bowen. Puck's at the side of the net. Picked up by the Steelheads. Williams avoids the hit. Puck sent back to the point for Aitchison. Aitchison fires, and that one's blocked by Williams. Aitchison over to Von Richter. One-timer stop. Rebound. Ends up going over the net. Here's Cole Beaudoin back to Aitchison. Williams, he is hobbling for the Steelheads. He blocked a shot. Botno chasing after Aitchison. Aitchison takes it down low. Picked up here by Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin with it. They're cycling, putting on the pressure here. Back to Von Richter. Von Richter to the net, takes the shot, stopped by Bowen. He crashes into the end boards. Colts still putting on the pressure. Puck's in the corner, picked up by Green. Steelheads trying to get it out. They can't. Kept in by Wilmot. Aitchison to Beaudoin. One-timer scores! Cole Beaudoin! The Barrie Colts are pouring it on. And the Barrie Colts, they're up 2-1.
Well, what a shift from the top line. Dylan Smoskowitz putting Ben Wilmot back up with Beaudoin and Hemming. He's got Aitchison and Von Richter together for that shift, and it worked out perfectly. The Steelheads bring it into the zone off the draw, but then Barrie goes back the other way, hemmed Brampton in, and they're able to take advantage. Jackson Williams could barely walk, and Amato also, he lost his stick for about a minute there. He was able to get it back eventually. Steelheads look like they're saying, hold on here just a second. So we'll have to see, but as of right now, the Barrie Colts have made it a 1-goal lead.
No, it doesn't look like they're going to challenge it. So that means it's now 2-1 Barrie. Cole Beaudoin now 20 goals on the season. That was a monster of a shot. Steelheads looking to respond here. Patton has it down low. He's tied up. Colts move it up. Joe Salandra across to Zabeski. Zabeski tied up in the neutral zone. Puck goes into the Brampton end. Kept in by Salandra. Salandra down to Gardner. Gardner back in front. Zabeski settles it down. Puts it off the post. Mason Zabeski strikes iron. Colts with it again at the line. That's going to come out. Delayed offside. Steelheads move it up. That's center. Black across to Eggleton. He's going to dump it in. Right now, Brampton making a line change. 9 minutes now gone in this third period. 2-1 Barrie. All 3 goals coming here in the third. Long stretch pass. Landra tips this one into the zone. Bowen behind the net to play it. Gives it to Nyman. Nyman up to Amidovsky. Sends this one back. Here's Demiglio. He's going to dump this one in. Rebick behind the net. He'll send this one around. Demiglio sends this one back behind the net. Picked up by Richmond. Knocked aside by Lowe. Demiglio sending it back to Carter Lowe. Lowe behind his own net. Loses it to Amidovsky. Von Richter's there as well. Continue to battle for it. It's a rugby scrum behind the Colts net. Now it's Carter Lowe ahead for Crombie. Calvin Crombie reaches center, sends it to the net. Bowen plays it behind the net, facing pressure there from Schneid. He'll pass that one back. Long stretch pass. Goyette up to Richmond. He takes a hard hit from Passmore. But we're going to get a whistle here as I believe the puck made contact with a player on the bench.
A huge goal there, obviously, for the Barrie Colts. Get them the lead back, and Aitchison's able to get that puck across to Cole Baudouin there, kind of thanks to Jackson Williams' injury there. Obviously, earlier in the game, he hurt his shoulder, and now ending up there with the injury to his leg or his foot. It's hard for him to walk, and so he was the only defender there. He was in front of Aitchison, but he wasn't in any shape to be able to move over to get near Baudouin. He was able to fire that one-timer off, and what a shot from Cole Baudouin. I mean, it kind of looked like an Aitchison one-timer.
A little bit there. That thing had heat. As both Wilmot and Baudouin reach the 20-goal mark this season. And we'll see what's in store here for the final 10 minutes and 6 seconds in this hockey game. So Jaden Newton's going to take the draw at center ice up against Matej Stankoven. Those two will line up. Botno right now having some words there with Govro. Now we get the play back underway. Steelheads trying to send in the zone. That's blocked. Witkowski goes back to G. Reed G on the boards up to Witkowski. That's deflected. Emerton's pass blocked by Witkowski. Aitchison puts this one off the boards and down the ice. Ends up at the Brampton blue line. G with possession. Up to Witkowski. He'll tip that one in, so no icing. Hrebic out of his net. Leaves it there for Aitchison. Aitchison trying to keep it away from Stankoven. He takes it away. Puck rolls in front, but then Hrebic quickly pounces on that one. Stankoven, he's been buzzing around that net quite a bit tonight.
That's Stankoven, one of the better Steelheads so far this season. He's centering that top line. He's got 6 goals, 14 points on the season. Saw that back in preseason, whiffing that shot. Got an opportunity to go on that top line with Zabeski and Gabriel Sherratt there and took advantage of it in preseason. And he's been a part of the Steelheads team ever since.
So face off now to the left of Hrebic. Patton's going to take the draw against Cole Baudouin. Getting some last second instructions. Face off won by the Colts. Kayshawn Aitchison picking it up here for Barrie. He's going to flip it down the ice. That gets by Mason Roy. Roy has to come back after it for Brampton. Can't get it out of the zone. Picked off by Hemming. Hemming taking it around the Brampton net. Emil Hemming comes out of the corner, does a lap in the offensive end. Now takes the shot. Goes off Zabeski. Ends up in the corner, picked up by the Steelheads. Steelheads, though, can't get it out. Kept in by Baudouin. Goes to Zabeski. Leaves it for Aitchison. Aitchison has that poked away from him. Hemming follows it up. Hemming with the shot. Stopped by Bowen. Puck goes over the glass and out of play. As this top line for the Barrie Colts right now just pouring on the pressure.
Now they've taken over the game here, and Barrie now hitting that 40 shot mark. Brampton currently at 17, and you wouldn't believe with a shot total like that, it's a 2-1 game, but Zach Bowen's done a great job tonight keeping the Steelheads in it. They were able to tie it once, so it's going to be an interesting final 9 minutes here to see if Brampton can tie the game again.
Well, shots right now, 40-17 in favor of the Barrie Colts. And shots have not been an issue here tonight for Barrie as they win the face-off. Another shot, that goes wide of the net. Amidovsky comes up with it for the Steelheads. He'll flip this one out. Demiglio carries this one in the zone. Stopped there by Eliasson. Demiglio again fires, and that goes right into the mitt of Ben Hrebic with 8:47 now remaining.
Soon mentioned this a couple times already, but big home and home coming up for Barrie against North Bay Battalion, one of the Colts' biggest challengers for first place in the Central Division. And North Bay, as well as the Niagara Ice Dogs, they have to keep an eye on those Kingston Frontenacs. They've been playing a lot better as of late. And those are looking like the three teams that are going to battle for 5, 6, and 7 in the Eastern Conference, which would line up with the Barrie Colts' likely seeding of 2 come playoff time.
There's still a few options when it comes to the playoff picture in the Eastern Conference. And yeah, the Kingston Frontenacs right now making things very interesting in the East. Colts get it down low, back to Emerton. Cole Emerton takes it down low, takes the shot, stopped by Bowen. They jam at it, and Bowen will cover it up. Now we've got Nyman and Salandra mixing it up, but cooler heads will prevail. And of course, tomorrow night's game will be on Rogers. You and I will actually get to call the game tomorrow. Gene Pereira feeling under the weather, so want Gene to get better.
Yeah, hope you feel better, Gene. You've kind of been stuck with me for it's going to be 5 straight games.
And then it's just you and I up to North Bay.
Yeah. Hopefully Gene's better by Thursday. And
that's going to be a home game.
Against Kingston. That could be a future playoff matchup. And
yeah, that could be a playoff preview.
Frontenac's up 5-3 right now. Niagara tied 4-4 with London. But if Kingston can get things to go their way here tonight in the standings, they could be tied for 6th with the Ice Dogs if Niagara loses.
Steelheads get this one out and down the ice. Back to play it. Here is Parker Von Richter. He'll chip it ahead. Teague Vader trying to get it away from Botno. Botno gets to it. That's deflected. Ends up back behind the Barrie net. Von Richter picks it up for the Colts. Ahead for Crombie. That got by him. G with possession here for Brampton. We'll send this one out. Vader from zone blue line. Up to Schneid. Schneid tied up there by Stankoven. Crombie ahead. Stankoven gets it again. Takes a hit there from Vader. Play continues. Carter Lowe with possession now for the Colts. Up ahead to Crombie. Crombie trying to send that one in the zone. Goes off a skate of Patton into the corner. Back behind the net. Picked up by Mason Roy. Picked off there. Good work by Vader. He's dumped. And that's going to be a penalty against the Steelheads for a trip. As that may have been a leg being stuck out to trip up Teague Vader as he was going after that puck off the point.
That could have easily been a knee on knee. It was kind of hard to tell from this angle because there was a player in front of them, but a hard collision there between him and Pat. Patton will go to the box, and big power play opportunity here for Barrie to make it a 3-1 game.
This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. This is now power play number 5 for the Barrie Colts tonight. 0 for 4 so far, so this faceoff will come to the right of Zach Bowen. 7:35 left to go in the hockey game. Bodwin taking the draw here for the Colts, sends us back to the point, but Von Richter couldn't get there in time. Puck's going to sail back into their own zone. Kayshawn Aitchison at center ice, puts this one across, finds Bodwin. Bodwin skates this one in, backhand pass, one-timer scores! What a setup! Cole Bodwin finds Ben Wilmot. And the Barrie Colts, they're now up by 2.
What a play by the Barrie Colts co-captain Bodwin. Flicks it there on the backhander, getting it across to Wilmot, who was open, and Zach Bowen didn't have enough time to get across. Wilmot's got a pair now, and he continues to be an excellent goal scorer for this Barrie Colts team. His stats now, 21 goals. He only had 12 with the London Knights. He didn't exactly showcase himself as a big-time goal scorer in London, but he's doing it here in Barrie.
And what a setup, though, by Cole Bodwin. As those two, ever since that first game in Guelph, have developed some amazing chemistry. So the Steelheads now down by 2, trying to respond as Nyman has it. They'll take this down low for Brampton. Govro taking him into the boards behind the Barrie net. Govro ties up his man still. So McGregor Richmond sends us back to the point. Green fires. That's deflected right into the mitt of Horevic, who's going to hold on. And this Barrie Colts team, once again in the third period, have taken over a hockey game.
They've come alive. 3 goals here. A nice save there by Ben Horevic. There was about 5 players out in front of him there. Had to fight through quite the screen there, but is able to make the save. And well, like you mentioned, I mean, Barrie, 3 goals here in the third. They're playing great once again, and got 6:46 to go, and they'll look to close this game out.
Face off won by the Steelheads. There's a quick shot, but that was blocked. Crombie comes up with it for the Colts. He'll flip this one down ice. Puck's rolling, and that's going to be icing now against Barrie, so they'll bring this one back with 6:37 remaining.
It's interesting to see, as we've noticed down the stretch of these games as of late, when the Barrie Colts are wanting to close these games out, they switching up the D pairs a bit. You know, we've seen Aitchison and Von Richter together often, and now Eliason with Passmore. Usually in these situations, Hanser and Passmore come together, but tonight it's Eliason, then the third pairing becomes Emerton and Bader.
Colts get it down the ice quickly. Crombie to Schneid. Ends up back at the point. Eliason, you're going to say it stayed in play. I thought that was offside.
It's close.
Steelheads with it. Witkowski. He's going to get it out now. Eliason bats this one down at center ice. Ahead for Lowe. He gets a stick on it. Nyman, though, picks up the loose puck. He's going to go back behind the net. That pass deflected. Witkowski, though, he's able to step up. Eggleton tips this one into the zone. But that wasn't before the red line, so it's now an icing. As this Brampton Steelheads team, well, it's going to come down to the wire here. It's time's becoming a factor.
They're getting closer and closer to having to watch for Zach Bowen. I think 6 minutes would be a bit too extreme, but they're probably going to want to get him out pretty early. Brampton hasn't created a lot of pressure, so they're going to want as much time as possible with an extra man on the ice.
And it's the TV timeout here at the CAA Centre. It took us a while to get the goal scoring here, as the Colts really controlling the game for the most part. The one goal for Brampton, that was a power play marker. But outside of that, if you're Dylan Smoskowitz, you got to be pretty happy with what you're seeing here tonight.
I think so. I mean, can't speak for him, but I'd assume so. I mean, the shots are 42-19, and as well, it hasn't been a game the Barrie Colts have had to, be relentless and tire themselves out too much. And obviously, the first game of a 3-3, and it'll be interesting to watch this weekend how long they can keep those legs awake and not tire out.
Face off to the left to Zach Bowen. Brad Gardner's going to be tossed out of the face-off dot. Well, I thought he was being tossed out. They're going to let him stay. Face-off won by the Colts. Back to Emerton. Emerton sends this one around the boards. Far side. Gardner. He's tied up. Salandra picks it up. Cuts to the middle. Still with it. Salandra the net. Backhand stop by Bowen. What a save. Steelheads get this one out and down the ice. Stops at the Barrie blue line. Vader up to Wilmot. Gets a skate on it. Loose puck in front. Salandra with the turnover, but Gardner couldn't get there in time. Ben Wilmot takes behind the net. Already 2 goals tonight. Ben Wilmot back to Emerton. Emerton will take this one down low behind the Brampton net. In front, wraparound, stopped by Bowen. Gardner leaving it there in the corner. Picked up here by Salandra. Joe Salandra comes back to the point. Takes the shots, and that's blocked in front. And that's going to go into the netting and out of play. As this Colts team just relentless right now in the third period.
They continue to ramp up that pressure, and still 5 minutes to go. Could get up there, 45 shots, get close to 50. They need 8 more to get to 50. I don't know if they'll be able to get that high, but 45 is definitely in the cards.
Still 5:13 to play in the third period. And the play has been down in the Brampton zone for the most part. Face off to the left of Bowen. Won by the Steelheads. Green's going to fire this one around. Eliason tried to keep that in the zone, ends up going back into the Barrie end. Zabeski's there to play it. Up ahead to Hemmick. Emil Hemmick along the boards. Up to Bodwin. Bodwin chips it up to Zabeski. Zabeski's got Hemmick going to the net. Zabeski shot scores! The former Brampton Steelhead scores against his old team. And it's now 4-1 for the Barrie Colts.
Well, Zabeski told me pregame he doesn't focus on scoring goals, but he gets another one there. 2 goals in his last 3 games as his top line continues to dominate Nice shot there going up high on Zach Bowen to extend the lead to 4-1 and possibly put this game to rest. Another goal for Mason Zabeski and another player scoring a goal after having an interview with me.
You should have been keeping tabs on that.
Or we're at 2 in the last month.
Well, Carter Lowe had the goals up in Owen Sound, and now Zabeski here.
2 goals and assists for Lowe. It was a big game for him.
Von Richter in front, puts it off Govro and ends up out in the neutral zone. 4.5 minutes now remaining in the hockey game. Govro from his own blue line, ahead for Newton. Got a stick on it, so that won't be icing as it goes back into the Brampton zone. Von Richter can't keep it in play. Patton skates it out for the Steelheads. Patton gets around Govro, takes the shot, stop, rebound, puck still loose. They can't find it as that puck was just moving around and McGregor Richmond missed it. Here's Parker Von Richter through the neutral zone. Von Richter enters the zone over to Edgar. Edgar in front. Newton just misses the post. It's set in front. They swing at it. Bowen makes the save as he's able to hold on, but Jaden Newton just missed that far post.
Yeah, he was very close. It went just wide. Von Richter gets it to Edgar. Beautiful pass to get it out front. It just goes wide. But Von Richter gets a shot as well. And seeing his buddy Zabeski get a goal there, he's stepping
been
up.
inspired.
And, he wanted to get a goal here in Brampton.
Well, that's now 45 shots. You said 50 wasn't possible.
I didn't say it wasn't possible. I said it'd be hard.
Well, 45 shots is pretty good.
That's a
Still
good one.
4 minutes. Face-off won by the Steelheads. Hicks behind the net. Up ahead to Botno. Steelheads can't get it out of the zone. Carter Lowe, his pass goes behind Crombie. Schneid, after that loose puck, he'll pick it up in the corner. Crombie receives the pass. Calvin Crombie from the half boards comes back to the point. That's knocked off his tape by Roy. Ends up in the neutral zone. Teague Vader up ahead. Lowe gets a stick on it. That's going to go deep. Back behind the net. Hicks sends this one around. Over to Roy. Roy, he's going to flip this one down the ice. It's bouncing. Icing waved off. Passmore back to play it. Teague Vader. It's got some room. Up ahead to Crombie. Calvin Crombie skates this one in. Up ahead to Lowe. Back to Crombie. And that's battered away by Bowen. Puck's in the corner. Calvin Crombie with it. Comes off the boards. Crombie trying to cut to the middle. Stays with it. But then he had his pocket picked by Amato. And the Steelheads get it out. Manuel Amato. Up ahead to Nyman. There's a big collision as Eliasson took a run at Amato. Play continues as those two continue to have words. Puck's going to go back down the ice. Goyette there to pick it up for Brampton. Williams tips this one deep. Emerton back to play it. Cole Emerton sends this one ahead to Salandra. Salandra dumps this one in. Bowen behind his net to play it here. Gives it to G. G up to Sam Black. Black takes a bump there from Gardner. Sends it into the zone. Ends up back behind the Barrie net. Richmond wished there by Passmore and Vader. Puck's in the far corner. Colts pick it up. Teague Vader with possession across to Salandra. Joe Salandra through the neutral zone. He'll skate this one in for Barrie. Salandra loses the handle of it. Puck goes to the corner. Salandra back to Wilmot. At the point, kept in. Good work there. Vader takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. 2 minutes remaining here in this hockey game. Wilmot across. Salandra after the loose puck. Salandra comes back to the point. Loses the handle of it. That's going to escape the zone. Joe Salandra from his own blue line passes it up. Picked up here by Wilmot. Ben Wilmot cuts to the middle. Colts are right now making a line change, so he's looking for reinforcements. Sends us deep. Puck taken away by Edgar. Edgar, though, loses it to Amadovsky. Puck goes to the opposite side. Jaden Newton will find it. Ends up back behind the Brampton net. Chasing after it is Edgar. Edgar in a battle with G. Picked up here by Newton. He's taken into the boards. Steelheads get it out to center. Here is Justin Botno. Botno sends this one deep. Back behind the Barrie net. Emerton takes him into the boards. That's going to be a penalty. Yes, that was a bit of a hit from behind. And now Govro's got one of the Steelheads in a headlock. This all coming with 1:15 left to go in the hockey game. Govro still mixing it up with the Brampton player. That's Patton. Patton already dropped the gloves with Kayshawn Aitchison back in the first period. Yes, those two just shaking heads at one another.
Well, it's definitely been a chippy game between the Colts and the Steelheads. Hicks and Newton exchanging words now, and they'll continue to heading back to the benches. No one's getting in between them, and going to be 3 players going to the box: Emerton, Goldbro, and Troy Patton as well. Botno's following up. Don't think he had a penalty, but he does have the helmet of Troy Patton.
I was going to say, he's just the delivery man. So 1:15 to go. They're going to figure out these penalties. It should be a Brampton Steelheads power play after Emerton took the Steelhead player into the boards behind the net. So for Brampton, this will be their 4th power play of the game. These two teams, Central Division rivals, you know what to expect. When these two teams battle it out, it's always physical, and this one, a perfect example of that.
That's been a physical game, or really from the get-go. It was pretty early on.
Gobro just tossed a stick out of the penalty box.
Oh, was it Patton?
It was Patton's stick.
Okay.
Well, I saw the door open, and then Gobro just tossed the stick out.
I kind of just stopped talking there. I was like, what just happened?
What is going on?
Now we got more. Oh, now Gobro's coming out.
Well, with
they're just
how
gonna
much
send
time
him
is
off.
left.
Oh, Emerton has to stay in, though, because if they score,
yeah,
comes
so
back
Patton
out.
will probably go out too.
I like how they're waiting till Gobro's off the ice to let Patton out, though.
Yeah, you got to wait your turn.
No, wait. We know what you do if you guys are out there together. So
We've seen this play out. So those two will head off early. 1:15 left to go. So yes, it's a power play here for Brampton. Steelheads will win this face-off. So Nyman with possession in his own zone. Up to Stankoven. Stankoven takes a hard hit there from Von Richter. Schneid after it. Von Richter picks up the loose puck. He'll send it to the line. Not out. Kept in by Nyman. We're in the final minute of the third period. 4-1 Barrie. Nyman spinning around at the point, keeping it away from Newton. Passes this one over. Goyette fires, kicked aside by Hrebeck. Rebound. Hrebeck slides across to keep that one out, as he's able to hold on to it. 44.4 seconds remaining.
A nice save there by Hrebeck on Witkowski. Looking around the league at the out-of-town scoreboards. Firebirds and Spitfires have clinched playoff spots. Kitchener is a couple minutes away from doing so. They're currently up by 3, and as well, the Frontenacs have won. The Ice Dogs have lost, so they're both at 52 points for 6th place, and both only 2 points back of the North Bay Battalion for 5th.
And of course, with a regulation loss here for the Brampton Steelheads, that means the Brantford Bulldogs will be the first team in the Eastern Conference to clinch a playoff spot. And now we'll just have to wait a few more games, and the Barrie Colts will also be clinching a playoff spot.
Well, them in Ottawa shouldn't be too far behind.
18 seconds left in the period. Steelheads get it back to the line. Just kept in. Good work there by Goyette. Stankoven comes off the boards. Down low to Witkowski. Back to Stankoven. And that's going to sail down the ice. 6 seconds left on the clock. As Bowen's out of his net. 2 seconds. And that will do it. The Barrie Colts. It took us quite a while to get the goal scoring going tonight, but they'll skate away with a 4-1 victory over the Brampton Steelheads.
Well, combined 5 goals here in the third period. The Colts end up at 46 shots, despite Mike trying to chirp me after saying it wasn't likely they'd get to 50 shots. And 46 shots, a really good effort by the Barrie Colts tonight. And make it 4 straight wins against the Brampton Steelheads as well. And I thought this was a decent effort by the Brampton Steelheads, and they did a good job in the early going, shutting the Barrie Colts down as they, early on in this game, the shots were about 7-3, pretty late into the first period. It didn't seem like a game where the Barrie Colts were going to light up the shot totals, but they end up doing so. 46 shots, a really nice effort tonight. They get that first win checked off here on a big 3-3 weekend with 3 Central Division opponents.
Yeah, and for Ben Hrebeck, too, he really wasn't tested much tonight. He gave up the 1 goal there in the third period. It was a power play marker for the Brampton Steelheads, but it wasn't really a game where Hrebeck wasn't a huge factor, which that's probably good. You don't want Hrebeck to be the hero every game, so getting a bit of a lighter load, but we're just not used to that. We're used to seeing like save after save from Ben Hrebeck, and the Colts didn't need that here tonight.
No, they didn't at all. It was a nice effort. These last two games for Ben Hrebeck, 22 shots against him tonight, 23 against Saginaw, and that's more of the game the Barrie Colts want to play. They don't want to face 40 shots a night and be put in a situation where Ben Hrebeck is basically on his last limbs trying to save the game late in the night. But yeah, obviously those games are going to happen every once in a while, and it happened last time the Barrie Colts were in the were at Longyear Memorial Gardens up in North Bay, but we were able to come away with the win in that one, and they'll look for 2 more wins against North Bay here on the weekend.
Yeah, and those North Bay battles always have that other extra element because you have the history. Shamar Moses, Parker Vaughn, former Barrie Colts. They were part of 2 big trades last season, so they're going to have something to prove. But for the North Bay Battalion, they're still second in the Central Division. Obviously, there's a pretty big gap between Barrie and North Bay, but still, that has to be in your mind there for the Barrie Colts. You want to make sure that you finish off that gap and, try and get that much closer to clinching the Central Division.
Yeah, I mean, for North Bay, I mean, they come out, they get 4 points against Barrie this weekend, and then maybe they add another win next weekend, and Barrie maybe has a tough weekend, and then all of a sudden that gap's getting a bit more manageable for North Bay, but as well, there's a lot more to play for them than just the division. They're pretty tight with all the teams around them. They still have a shot at getting past Peterborough in that 4 seed and getting home ice. But as well as we were talking about a couple of minutes ago, the Ice Dogs and Frontenacs right on their tails. So North Bay, they're obviously wanting to get the highest seed possible. They're not going to want to be that 7 seed team because when you're the 7 seed, you have to play the 2 seed, and that's the Barrie Colts, obviously. And if you can find a way to win that series, you're guaranteed to face the Brantford Bulldogs unless the 8 seed pulls off the upset. At least if you're the 5 seed or the 4 seed, there's a decent chance there's an upset in the first round, and you can take advantage of that and maybe hold off facing that top seed until conference finals.
Oh, it's still going to be a fun race right down to the finish, but we do have our 3 stars of the game presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities. New homes, minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm. Now, your 3rd star tonight coming from the Barrie Colts, Cole Baudouin with a goal and 2 assists. He had a beautiful setup in that 3rd period. 2nd star, Sean Matthew Goyette of the Brampton Steelheads, scored his first career OHL goal, so a nice shout out for him.
Well earned.
Yep, and then your 1st star, Ben Wilmot of the Barrie Colts, 2 goals and an assist. He had a great game here. Benefited from that setup from Cole Baudouin in the 3rd period and got the goal scoring early in the 3rd period going.
Yeah, he got things going on the night, and Baudouin, of course, that game winner. And so for the Colts, I think those are the proper 3 stars, probably. Baudouin and Wilmot were probably the best players on the ice for Barrie there in that 3rd period, doing a great job. And then, of course, I think Goyette earned the star, but as well, you also do have to remember we are in the road rink. Not sure who chooses the 3 stars in all these different places. So and it's not saying that they're biased by any means. It just means more like a road rink would be more inclined to pick from someone from the home team. And for example, in Barrie, if it's Barrie people picking it, they're going to be more inclined to choose Baudouin if he has a goal and an assist tomorrow over Parker Vaughn if he has a goal and an assist. That's just kind of how it works.
Oh, exactly. But it's a 4-1 final here, and now we get ready for the North Bay Battalion. So big game back in Barrie. First game back at the Saddleland in 2 weeks. It's going to be kind of refreshing being back home.
It's going to be a bit weird, and we'll have some help alongside
a little
us.
bit, eh?
We'll have the Rogers volunteers there to help us out. We won't be able to say overtime and shootout because they seem to get very mad when we do that. And yeah, it'll be nice to have replays to be able to look at, especially considering I got to do a little bit of color tomorrow again. With Gene out. Hope you feel better, Gene. But yeah, it'll be fun to get back to the Saddleland for a couple games. Got a road game in between, but a couple of home games coming up. And then, of course, that weekend, the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we finally actually get 2 games at home in a week. It's been a long time since we've had that.
It has been a while. So that's tomorrow's broadcast. I see it's also Adam's birthday tomorrow, so he's going to be at the game. So happy birthday ahead of time there, Adam. And Tammy's also wearing the pink wig. Pink wig.
Yeah.
Easy enough for me to say. But
Cancer Awareness Night at the Saddleland Arena. And
there's going to be a lot of pink tomorrow.
A lot of pink. And yeah, it'll be a fun game. Two rivals, three tight games between them this season, and it's going to be great.
So that's it for us here at the CAA Centre in Brampton. 4-1 final for the Barrie Colts. Our next broadcast here on the channel will be Sunday afternoon up in North Bay. Puck drop is at 2 p.m., but we'll have the live stream up and running at 1:45. So stay tuned for that. But for Josh McCann, I'm Mike Poirier saying so long from Brampton, where it's a 4-1 final for the Barrie Colts.